Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest episode of Best Boys, a podcast about movies. I am Jurassic Park, and I am here with two of my best friends in the whole wide world. Why don't you introduce yourselves, fellas? Tell the people who you are, what you're about, where they can find you.
I'm sorry about that. As you said go, I clicked off of Discord, and Discord dodged me.
Oh God!
and I exited out all my tabs.
Oh no!
But I'm good now.
What a rollicking start!
Well, as soon as you said go, it was off.
Everything died. We were doomed from the start.
Go
on this mini long run reunion podcast.
Mini long run reunions.
Go ahead, Jake.
A mini one. The long run is like the Infinity War of podcasts.
Oh, that is the most ambitious crossover. Thinking about it, actually, that reminds me, the long run year in review will come out soon. Right now, I'm just fighting off patent copyright strikes from Disney.
Fantastic. That's awesome. I remember we recorded that, and I was wondering when that was going up.
I didn't forget about it.
A mini one.
That's awesome.
A mini one because of how many people are part of that podcast.
Now, how have we not made that meme yet, though? Just like, Infinity War is the most ambitious crossover ever. Cue picture of The Force Awakens or the Last Jedi 6-hour podcast.
I don't know. I guess because we didn't. Maybe we were like worried people. That it would actually not be good.
Oh man. Well, we'll get to Infinity War. But did you guys did you plug your stuff or
it's out.
What's out?
The podcast, all my copyright notices were resolved.
Oh shit.
I did.
Yeah, I'm gonna look in real time. This is a big event. A new episode of The Long Run drops as we're recording.
It happened. It's there though. How do I list it? Get ready, team.
We're gonna
actions. We're gonna do it now.
All
right,
sure
I'm gonna make it public. You're about to update a video. Man. I can't undo this once I've started it.
What's gonna happen? If you're listening to this, tune in to The Long Run right now because it's like Nintendo at E3. Yeah. You can do it right now.
Hold on, let me check.
If you're hearing this, I need you to go check it and upvote
links in the description. Give it upvote. Give it gold or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Give me gold.
I don't see it, Jake, on your uploads.
The Long Run for Women.
Is it working?
I don't see it. I still see the search.
It's probably unlisted. Yeah, I don't see it.
Oh,
it's not
search.
There. Keep refreshing. Okay.
Oh my God.
We did it.
There it is. I see it. Who's that? Who's that in the thumbnail? Is that Channing Tatum from Kingsman?
I think it might be. I gotta check. No, it's the other guy.
Oh, okay. I still haven't seen Kingsman 2, incidentally. I still need to. I really wanted to see that because I really like the first one.
Oh man, no! It basically Kingsman 2 took all the good bits of Kingsman 1 and just kind of turned it up to 11.
Huh.
Okay, so it's like a little it's not quite the right titling or whatever, but it is up there. And I don't know if there's certain parts that are silenced or whatever.
Oh my God!
I think that it's. I think we did it, Mark.
This is so legit.
I think we did it, Jake. Just here's what you do, Mark. Fast forward to 35 seconds in.
This is a money shot.
Yeah. Fast forward to 35 seconds in. That's how you know it's real. Just go to 35 seconds in, go to 40, and then.
Familia. We familia. Oh God. Yeah. Everybody listening to this who was baffled by what you just heard, go check out the Long Run Year in Review podcast. And you'll understand everything. That's the
it's like the
teaser.
The Pixar short before the movie.
We familia.
Oh, what if they started doing that? Like having
this
little
Pixar short means that Captain America's coming back to Earth.
Yeah, with kind of like side stories of maybe smaller
little
characters
Marvel
and stuff
Pixar
like that.
Short. Oh, I'd like that. That'd be cool. Yeah. They were doing that for a while on the home releases. They had the Marvel one shots.
Really?
They had one where it was this couple found an alien gun after Avengers,
Oh,
and like there was another one about Coulson going to Thor's hammer, and the most important one, there was one where they retconned the Iron Man 3 twist with the Mandarin,
Yeah.
where they showed Ben Kingsley in prison, and then he gets accosted by a bunch of people who were like, the real Mandarin doesn't like you using his name. And it's like, don't worry, people who read the comics. It's not too scary and different. He's out there. We'll never have him in a film, but he's out there.
We got it. Don't worry.
He's out there doing what he doing whatever the Mandarin does in his downtime.
Exactly. So did we finish intros? I completely forget. We got so caught up in this long run thing.
I don't think we introed.
We got caught up. Yeah. So yeah, tell everybody has not heard the long run. All the uninitiated, the uneducated.
Tell the people, Jake.
Tell them who you are. Tell the people who you are. What you're about.
It's me, Jake. Long Run Kupferberg, owner and proprietor of the Long Run podcast. Just doing my thing. I don't know what's the intro about. Hi, it's me. I like movies. I mostly do research, but I watch movies in my spare time. And Mark was my first friend in New Jersey, so there you go.
Oh, that. Holy shit! That's right. I've completely forgot. I've known you for like.
I know.
Jesus
I forget
Christ.
it too.
Yeah, and a disgustingly long time.
If you wanna know the nucleus behind all of this jazz, it technically goes back to Mark, because he became my friend, and then we became friends with Clemson, and then we formed that nucleus.
Shit, that's holy shit. That's
this is what we mean when we say family.
Familia. Speaking of sound bites, I found all of the Ed Netty sound bites.
Oh God! Oh no!
I have all the music. I have all the sound effects. I'm going to send them to you, Mark, and you can do what you will with them.
Is that going to be the title of this episode? Infinity War,
with Ed Netty sound effects.
Oh, that edit's going to be amazing when we finally get a Blu-ray cut. Oh my God. The opening scene of Infinity War, but with Ed Netty sound effects. Every other sound is
All right, sending it to you. No.
Jesus. We've got a while before we talk about Infinity War, but this is the one where we talk about Infinity War.
Well, while Jake is saying that over, let me just introduce myself real quick. So my name is Adam. You know me traditionally as the host of the Long Run podcast, and of course of other things, Fog of War, things of that nature. And I'm very, very happy to be here with Mark and on his Best Boys podcast. So it's an honor, of course, and very excited to be talking about the slew of cinematic masterpieces that will be coming out.
Yeah, because I feel like we're finally getting out of the wintry slump. You know, we got past, as Red Letter Media calls it, "Fuck you, it's January," where nothing good is coming out. We've gotten past the slow period, and now all the cool shit is starting to happen. And we got some trailers. This month. We got some cool trailers. Some for some stuff that we haven't. But do we want to talk about the Meg first? Because I feel like
we gotta save it.
We gotta build. We want to build to that. Okay, we'll build to the Meg, because the Meg, for anyone not aware, for anyone who has not listened to the Long Run New Year's special just yet, the Meg holds a special place in all of our hearts.
Oh, you bet it does.
Yeah, no, you know what? Let's start things off. We got a trailer for Hereditary. This, I have no idea what the hell this is about. There's a creepy looking kid clicking his and or her tongue. I have no idea. They got this weird looking androgynous little kid. I feel like an asshole saying this is a weird looking little kid.
Are we allowed to say androgynous?
No,
or is that like the appropriate term?
Oh God, is that not a thing
I'm not
anymore?
sure.
Am I that old grandpa at Thanksgiving?
I think maybe you're not allowed to say hermaphrodite. I think you can say androgynous though.
I think hermaphrodite is the one that's bad. I think androgynous is because it just means like
regardless,
genderless.
Regardless, we mean no offense is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. As we describe this child, who we will say is very very
just a kid. Kids don't look
creepy.
like any gender.
Yeah.
And-
They got this creepy little girl and who's clicking her tongue, and apparently, I don't know. The early feedback from this is saying it's the new Exorcist, basically, which is like, oof, high praise. But yeah, no, this trailer looks insane, and I can't wait for it just because it's being put out by A24. I love A24. I've finally come around on them. Like I've started picking up on them because I realized that a lot of the movies that have come out that I would consider some of my favorites of all time were all put out by them. Shit like The Lobster, The Vavitch, The Disaster Artist. All of these movies are A24. So they got an eye for good stuff. So high expectations for this one, definitely.
It looks creepy, man. Like Mark was saying, you got this little girl. I don't know, something about kids. Like
kids are creepy.
Kids are creepy.
They're creepy and gross. Ew.
Like I don't know what's going on in this movie. Like they're putting the grandmother dressed and the kids like eating like really crunchy chocolate bars and just making like weird stuff happen. Like
we're selling this horror movie super hard. It's so scary. This kid's like eating chocolate.
Oh my god!
I nearly shit my pants. I couldn't sleep for a week. The way that kid was eating that chocolate. Like, God, no. The sound in this trailer was
on point.
Yeah, really, really creative sound design with that. I cannot wait to see what they do with it.
Looking at like all these shots, like everything looks so creepy. Like you have this treehouse. Treehouses are not supposed to look creepy. This one looks really, really unnerving. It has no windows. It's like glowing orange or something.
It's a tree box.
Yeah, it's like this. The mother is apparently like into making miniatures of like people, which is creepy in itself. I don't know.
There's a little dollhouse. Dolls are creepy. Dolls are creepy. Kids are creepy. Old people are creepy. Houses are creepy. Everything's creepy in this movie.
There seems to be a lot of school scenes.
The woods. It's every creepy thing. And it's got that creepy plucking violin, which I hope they don't abuse because everything abuses.
It's definitely like I didn't know about this movie until Mark told us to watch it for this trailer. I'm sorry, for this podcast, truthfully. And like Jake said, it's really, really creepy. And even if this movie like is not great, I'm telling you right now, like the marketing for it, they certainly make it look like it's the scariest movie of all time. Like with all like the ominous like quotations of reviewers and like the ground and stuff like that. It's like, oh my god, like I don't even know if I want to watch this movie. You guys are scaring me that much.
Yeah. And it's like I'm watching this. I don't even know what the hell this is about. That's the
it says thing. An unsettling look at what demons we may have inherited from our parents. So maybe she's getting possessed by whatever was with her grandma.
Yeah, or something like that. Because like that's the thing. Like you look at the trailers like for it, and it's like okay, creepy trailer, but it's like it's a big clown, and that's it. Whereas you look at this one, and all it makes you think is like, 100%. What the hell is happening? I don't know what that is, but I know I don't like it. It looks spooky.
that's something that I got to give, I think, horror trailers credit for, and that's just because I watched the what do you call it? I watched A Quiet Place recently, which is another pretty spooky movie. It the horror trailers that I've seen recently do not seem to be giving away too much. They seem like very good at misdirecting you into thinking it's going to happen. Like you think one scene's going to be like at the end, and then it turns out like that's in the beginning or something like that. Like,
yeah.
And that's probably what's going on here. Like we do not know what's going on, and gotta give them credit for that because a lot of trailers suck nowadays.
Yeah, I'm noticing. I feel like trailer houses for like bigger releases, I feel like they're starting to get it. Because I feel like there was a period a while back where like every trailer was spoiling every movie. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, I don't know. I almost want to say it was maybe like Guardians of the Galaxy, or specifically Guardians of the Galaxy 2, where I think I remember James Gunn saying like, okay, the trailers cannot have any clips from anything past like the 20-minute point, except for like the one like group shot during the climax. Like that's the only shot past 20 minutes that gets to be shown in this movie. And you get the trailer and it gives you a good idea of the movie's tone and nothing else. And you go in and you're surprised and it works really, really well. Because I noticed that happened like, with this where I'm watching it, I have no idea what's going to happen. Where with Infinity War, where there was a lot of fake shit in that trailer.
A lot of misdirection.
There were a lot of misdirection. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in Infinity War that either A, didn't happen when you thought it was going to happen, or B, just did not happen at all. But on the flip side, there is one trailer that has come out that I feel has done the exact opposite of that. That would be Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
Which
Mark, you're a dear fan of the Jurassic Park series. If I'm not mistaken, your name is taken from said series.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear your opinion on this one.
Huh? Really?
Yeah. Like I'm gonna be honest. I like Jurassic World. I don't like it as much as the original, but I thought it was fun. I thought it was a better sequel than the other two. It was schlock, but it was fun schlock. Mm-hmm. It didn't make me angry and how stupid it was. But this, it's like, I don't know. Like I should be excited for this. It's another Jurassic Park movie, but it's like, okay. You just make a new genetic dinosaur, but now it's loose, and it's just okay.
My question to you
Dinosaurs.
is before I kind of like give my thoughts on it. This is based on a book. Like Jurassic Park as a whole is based on a book, right?
Well, the first one, and then the first movie did so well that they went up to Michael Crichton and they were like, "Hey, write a second book." And he was like, I don't want to. And they dumped a bunch of money at him and they were like, write a second book. And he's like, fuck it, here's a book. And apparently the second book is not very good. I'm surprised the movie was not very good either because Steven Spielberg didn't really want to do it either. But then everything after Lost World is just an original thing, not based off of
okay. Yeah, that's what my question was going to be. Was going to be like, so are they just coming up with these ideas for the Jurassic Park, like, I guess, universe or whatever you want to call it?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Like, and that's the thing that kind of bugs me is because I feel like the initial idea of this has like has some potential to it where it's like, because that was the thing that they were pushing in the first Jurassic World, where it was like, oh, the idea that, these are animals, they're not just theme park attractions, because all the other ones had the like, nature can't be contained, life finds a way, chaos and all that stuff.
Right.
But I like that was one of the things that I liked about Jurassic World that I think actually worked like a real movie was how they were, instead of focusing on, oh, we tampered in God's domain and now it's going nuts, it was, oh, we're not respecting nature. Like they're treating these animals like theme park rides. And it's like, okay, that's, stays in line with the series, but it's something marginally different. That gives it its own identity sort of. And then it makes it seem like they're going to be going that same route with this one where it's like, animal rights, we got to go save the dinosaurs because we brought them into this world and it's not right to leave them. But then all these trailers reveal like, oh, oops, there's a big, it's all a fraud,
Right.
There's a big evil man and he wants the dinosaurs to turn them into weapons because Arnim Zola is going to make a new dinosaur. And then they're going to sell them off to all the bad people in the world. But then the dinosaur gets out and it runs around and it eats people, but it doesn't eat the main people. And that's going to be the whole movie. And it's like, all right. It's like, all right.
I mean, I'm just looking at it and it just looks like super cheesy. You have like Chris Pratt being like, hey, old pal, talking to the Velociraptor. You're ready to
say
do it again. Like try again and team up one last time. And it's like
like that was the thing. I was down with the Velociraptors in Jurassic World. The whole thing with him riding the motorcycle with the raptors, that's so stupid that it works.
Yeah.
Because
that's a perfect way to describe it.
I kind of liked it.
It's so stupid, but it's like, okay, you know what? That's at least an interesting idea, because the whole thing with the original ones was, oh, Velociraptors are so fucking smart. They're so insanely smart. They're like on the level of dolphins. They're so smart. And it's like, well, if you actually got the park up and running, why the fuck wouldn't you try and train raptors? They train everything else at like SeaWorld. Why wouldn't you try and train a velociraptor if it's smart enough? So it's like, okay, that works. But now the fact that it's like, it's Chris Pratt with his sidekick, the velociraptor, and it's like, all right, now that's too much for me.
Yeah.
That's too much. I don't need Chris Pratt tag teaming dinosaurs with his other dinosaur. Like, I'll probably see it because it looks so stupid. It looks like a fun time.
They already had that at the end of the Jurassic World,
Yeah.
where you had the T-Rex tag teaming with the Velociraptor.
Yeah, that I think was my limit for stupidity. That was when I had a big fat smile on my face and I was thinking, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and this is as far as I want it to go. And if it gets any stupider
granted, at that
than
time,
this,
Mark, you didn't watch The Fate of the Furious.
That's true. That's very true. If in this trailer, Dominic Toretto rolled up, he was like, "Hey, Velociraptor."
Familia. And then he's riding. What if he rode the motorcycle?
Oh my god!
With the dinosaurs?
Now I know what I need to see.
Oh, there's the crossover event of the century.
Listen, you said this before, Mark. You need to make a podcast where we just pitch crossovers with the Fast and Furious.
It needs to happen. They're trying to crossbreed velociraptors with cars. You can't do that. They belong in a garage.
So we had the Fast and Furious and the Jurassic Park crossover. We already talked about the Transformers Fast and Furious crossover that the world needs.
Yeah, Fastformers.
Yeah, Fastformers.
Transfurious.
You can't call it the Trans and the Furious now.
Well, it's very forward. It's a very forward movie.
God.
I mean, one thing I do like from this trailer is how much the Mosasaur is in it.
Yeah, the Mosasaur is fucking cool. I like the sea dinosaurs.
I like them. Yeah, they should have more of those. And they have like this shot at the end where you have this like the big bad genetically engineered dinosaur, like
the Indoraptor, which sounds like it's from like Indochina or something. But
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I was about to say, damn, giving away its origin right in the name.
They're like, it's like reaching out for a kid in a really like horror movie way. And I was thinking, like, what if they went with that angle? What if instead of like this weird schlocky blockbuster thing, they did like, like Aliens, where the dinosaurs are just in the trees or Predator or whatever.
I know that,
and they're just like
the guy directing it apparently has a history with horror films, and apparently that is actually the angle he's taking it from.
See, that's the weird part, though, right? Because it seems like at least the first quarter, excuse me, first quarter to the first half is them rescuing them from the island, and then it's like, all right, let's bring them to the rich people auction show. And then we turn into a horror movie. It seems like a very big like tonal conflict or what's the word? Tonal dissonance. I forget what the exact term is.
Yeah, tonal dissonance.
Yeah, and on top of that too, I watched the trailer and I already saw the entire movie.
That's what you think, though. That's what you think.
They would have to pull out a lot to surprise me, I think.
It might be the case. Like, what if like this beginning bit? Like this could all be from the beginning with like a few shots of the dinosaur like escaping, and then who knows what happens after that.
That'd
like a lot of these are from the same scenes.
That'd definitely be something.
I agree.
I think it can be done. If what you say about the director is true, then I have some hope for this movie yet.
Let me actually, now that I think about it, let me see what else he directed, because I know he's done horror movies, but it is J.A. Bayona who has, let's see. Okay, he's the guy who did The Orphanage, and he also did A Monster Calls. He didn't do a whole lot, actually.
Okay.
He's directed a few episodes of Penny Dreadful, but yeah, no, he seems like he's got a smallish but pretty decent resume. You know, I heard good things about A Monster Calls. It says here that he's won a couple awards for his stuff, so who knows? Maybe it'll turn out to be more than the sum of its parts. I
really hope so, because it's not like we want anything to be bad.
Yeah, you know, I don't think anybody would want this to fail. You know, I like Chris Pratt. I like dinosaurs. I like Bryce Dallas Howard. It's like I fucking love Jeff Goldblum. I'm really glad that he's back.
Even though
Oh yeah, he
he's
showed
only
up.
in there for like 15 seconds or whatever, right? For that one scene.
Yeah, he's just gonna be in that one scene, but it's a lot of elements that I like and that I appreciate. So I hope it's good, but mm, mm. but one movie that does have some water dinosaurs in it, or rather, one water dinosaur. I believe it's time to talk about the Meg.
You want to blow your load already?
Oh.
Well, the question is, do we want to sit on the Meg, or do we want to keep all the Marvel movies sequestered before we talk about Infinity War?
Oh, good point. Good point.
So that
Well, is there any? I say we hit on all the other stuff that we have first. Then we hit the Meg. Then Marvel. Then
all right, that
or we
works.
could,
Because
or we could cap out with the Meg if you want.
let's do that first one, because all we have aside from that isn't the Meg or a Marvel movie is Incredibles 2, where we finally got a more than teaser trailer for Incredibles 2, and yeah, looks good. You got pretty much the entire cast back. You got Brad Bird back. Like,
So here's my thing. I want
Yeah.
this to be good so badly, Mark. Like, I
Right.
want this to be good so badly. But at the same time, as much as I love Pixar to death, Coco was my movie of the year. I'm not no Pixar hater, but
exactly.
their
Yeah.
track record with sequels and or prequels or whatever has not been amazing. And that's not to say, like, I think the only ones that are really like the weakest are obviously the Cars movies.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a pretty big fan of Monsters University. Like, I'm not gonna tell you I'm like the greatest movie of all time, but I enjoyed it.
I liked Monsters.
I like Monsters University
yeah.
a lot. I
liked it for the
grew on
ending
me.
specifically.
Yeah. I obviously the Toy Story sequels are incredible movies.
Yeah.
Finding Dory wasn't a bad movie. It was like we did a review on Finding Dory. Like it was a lot of
Go watch the long run on Finding
Yeah.
Dory. Is it still our most popular episode?
yeah,
for some
apparently
reason?
it is. I think.
It's because of all that wonderful ambience from Hicks's back porch.
Oh, exactly. But like it wasn't a bad movie. It was just you know what? Just don't take it that seriously because it jumps the shark. It really does.
Well, I mean, doesn't a shark jump something? A shark jumps something.
I completely forgot about that ending. Yeah, no, Finding Dory gets fucking insane at the end.
Yeah, it like literally just
they derail a truck and
Yeah, like they actually jump a shark. I think
it's really just like throw your brain out the window for that one.
Yeah, it's more of the same until it gets fucking nuts.
Yeah. So for this movie, for Incredibles 2, like I want this to be really good. They have most of the original team back, it seems like, and the story itself seems very layered. You know what I mean? Because like the first one, it was like, yeah, this is a fun superhero movie, but it's also like a very, very powerful social commentary about not only superheroes but also family life and just adulthood in general. Going past that midlife crisis, blah 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 blah. Incredible movie. One of the sorry, I didn't mean to do that. One of the best superhero movies of all time by far. And and I hope that this movie can live up to those expectations. But obviously, like we won't know until we actually see the film, I think.
Yeah, it's got some big shoes to fill, suffice to say. Like I think one could make the case that Incredibles is the best Pixar movie.
Oh, 100%.
Like I don't know, like I don't know, because it's so hard to choose, but I would say if somebody told me that Incredibles was their favorite or their pick for the best one, I wouldn't, I wouldn't bat an eye at it. I think it's a very fair pick for number one, for the cream of the crop. And that's the thing. Like I know Brad Bird has said he wasn't going to do a sequel until he came up with an idea that was worth doing a sequel for.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, it's been Jesus, how many years?
Over 10, right? It's been over a decade.
Yeah. So we were in like fourth grade when that came out. Yeah, no, it's been a long ass time. And now it's like, all right, like the only thing I'm concerned about is the fact that it seems to be like paralleling the first one a lot, where it's like, okay, but now, mom has the new job.
Right.
And it's like, I know it's not going to be that simple, but it's still something where I'm like, I hope it's good. I really hope it's good.
Right.
Well, I guess on the other one, it was like almost like a cheating allegory.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, they
And in
had
this one,
there was a deleted scene actually where in the scene in the first one where she finds the hair on the super suit.
yeah.
Yeah, there was originally a whole scene where she straight up asks him if he's having an affair, and like it turns really uncomfortable. There was a lot of really real shit in the original cut of The Incredibles. There's a lot more death and infidelity and like stuff like
There was
that.
death.
Oh yeah, the bit where the plane blows up. Originally, there was going to be a guy flying it, and he was gonna fucking die to illustrate to the kids that there are stakes. But then they realized, oh wait, but this would mean that Violet accidentally got someone killed, and that's a little too heavy.
Yeah. Oh, that is really heavy.
That's a bit too much.
Okay. That was a smart move on their part then.
Yeah, no, it's The Incredibles might be the most interesting like pre-production out of all the Pixar movies. There's a lot of really, really nuts ideas that they canned. There's a lot of backstory that they wrote that isn't even in the movie, but you can find it.
It's kind of cool. I feel like I remember reading about that. I feel like I had like one of those like you know how Star Wars always has those like those graphic books where they have like pictures that describe stuff.
Yeah.
What was it? Visual
I
feel like
visual guides or something like that. Yeah.
I feel like I had one for The Incredibles, so I got a lot of the lore.
Yeah, there was a really cool bonus feature on the DVD where it was the database of superheroes that he finds in the movie, but it was like each one was a full like file on this superhero with like origin, power set, like weaknesses,
awesome.
And then they had like interviews with each one, and you find out like, oh, they're implying that this guy is an alcoholic, so they need to watch him because like he controls density. So if he gets too fucked up, then he could like level a city. And it's like this guy is implied to have bipolar disorder, and they're like, make sure that he's on a team to even him out because he could very easily turn into a villain. And it's fucking crazy. It's really, really nuts. All the level of thought that went into making The Incredibles 1 and building that world.
I guess. Oh man, I kind of got to read that now. Like I gotta take a look. Oh no!
God damn, Trevor.
Uh-oh.
Shit's popping off.
I think hold on. Let me check real quick. What's going on?
Where's my super suit?
Are you playing or? Yeah. Wow.
Oh man.
Oh, this is staying in.
I was wondering if you were popping off because of another match or something like that.
No. In my own match, it was a draw. Like that's rare in this type of game.
Yeah, I've never seen a draw before.
Yeah.
I haven't. Not me. Well, I don't play competitive, dude. I just do. I do the other stuff.
What's he playing?
Overwatch. If I had to guess.
Oh shit!
Oh, it's all good. He just got a draw in Overwatch,
Ooh.
which I didn't know you could do.
I haven't played Overwatch in a long ass time. I gotta hop
too.
back on that.
We got to get it back in
this
there
summer. We got to get it back in
before Monster Hunter comes out and consumes us all.
But yeah, Incredibles 2 looks promising. Really hope it lives up to the hype, and I'm sure Brad Bird does too.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
now,
and what's it called? One thing I do want to touch on as well. I'm sorry, Mark. I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch
go
on
for
is
it.
that I haven't like. So Brad Bird's other movies, we have Ratatouille, right? Which great movie. Like I'm not gonna contest that.
Yeah.
However, I was not that big a fan of Tomorrowland. Like, I was so hyped for this movie, Mark. You don't understand. Like the
I actually,
Why are you so
I
hyped for it?
never saw
Like-
it.
like the
actually.
entire
Give me the
not
lowdown on
like it's the
Tomorrowland.
entire concept of like the how bright the future is and working towards that future, and like there's so much cool stuff that can happen in the future, and it was like a movie about that, about building towards that future. At least that's what the
Yeah.
trailers implied. and it was just so.
Because that's what Tomorrowland in the Parks is
Yeah.
supposed to be. It's like that beautiful. It's like the age of aviation back in the
Yeah.
'60s when it was like the future holds endless possibilities.
Exactly, when it was like, the homes of tomorrow, the cities of tomorrow, the transportation of tomorrow kind of thing.
There's so much potential to bring that back because now every future scenario is like a dystopia or like Apple controls everything and it's all smooth and seamless.
It was like the what's it called, the not a possibility. It's like the World Fair. Like remember when that was like a really big thing.
Yeah. When everything had rocket packs.
And so the movie itself wasn't horrible. Excuse me. Like Jake, we saw it together. I'm pretty sure it just wasn't like that amazing. Like you know what I mean? Like it was just good, not great. And I actually like Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. I don't like it as much as other people. I think maybe I'm just not that big of a Mission Impossible guy because I was also very disappointed with Mission Impossible 5, and people were telling me that was like the greatest like action movie of like the last decade. I was like, all right, let's take a step back. Go watch The Raid.
Well, they probably refuse to watch like foreign films. So
anyway, so I'm like a little bit nervous because it almost feels like I don't want to say that Brad Bird failed in live action, is like retreating back to animation, but in some ways it might feel like that way to certain people. However, like it's like what you said. I'm really hoping that this movie is like really gonna knock it out of the park because it is incredible. So it has this dynasty not only in superhero movies and Pixar films, but it's also it has the thing that we touched on earlier about living up to the predecessors and Pixar's legacy of sequels / prequels to their films. And I would hate to see The Incredibles join that another club of that was an alright sequel. We really didn't need that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, what a time to bring The Incredibles back too, with this whole superhero boom.
Oh yeah, the superhero.
Like, it is. There will never be a better time. The bubble could pop. No, the bubble's not popping anytime soon, but it could. Like, but yeah, no, I'm excited to see Brad Bird getting back into animation because you got stuff like The Iron Giant. You got The Simpsons on his resume, and it's like, bring him home. Bring him home. I think this is probably, I would argue, where he's most comfortable. And I'm excited to see what he's been cooking up for the past decade.
For sure, I'd have to definitely agree with you. And it is one thing too that it has the ability to instill confidence in Pixar again, because for the longest time Pixar like just knocking it out of the park every year, printing money, making it look easy. Sorry, DreamWorks, go home kind of thing. Like for the longest time they were just making these incredible films that were transcending the animation genre and just being some of the best films of all time even. But then it's hard to stay perfect for forever. And then we started getting some films that were kind of it started with Cars 2 and then we got like Brave and Monsters University, which again, these are not bad movies so much as they're just not where Pixar was at before.
Well, Cars 2 was meant to be like Cars 2's the money maker.
Exactly.
They got to do it. And Brave was not for us.
I agree. It's just more so at the same time it's mutually agreed. I think that they were not on par with your Ups, your Wall-E's, your original Finding Nemo's, your Incredibles, your Ratatouilles, Monsters Inc. That pantheon, if you will, of god tier Pixar movies.
Good Dinosaur.
And then we had like stuff like Inside Out. Inside Out knocked it out of the park. I think that was like okay, they still got it. Got it. But
there are people that think Inside Out is boring, and I do not understand where they're coming from.
Agree with that at all. And then there's The Good Dinosaur and Finding Dory. Mark, you talked a lot about The Good Dinosaur, actually. I remember your review was extensive.
Good Dinosaur, I was super, super into The Good Dinosaur because I remember hearing like, oh my God, Pixar movie about dinosaurs. This is like everything 5-year-old me ever wanted. And then I saw it and I was like, oh, it's like Where the Red Fern Grows, but with dinosaurs. I was like, this isn't at all what I expected, but it's fine.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
It was
definitely not what I expected.
It was very, very different for Pixar.
Right. So then after that, right, we had Finding Dory, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Again, not horrible, just not great. Then we had Cars 3. I didn't even bother watching Cars 3.
Wait. Does anybody know what Cars 3? Because I remember they were like, Lightning McQueen dies, and like
the end of Infinity War.
It was like so dark.
No, that fucking Cars 3 trailer is still like the funniest thing to me, especially when people dub it over with Johnny Cash. But the most shocking thing is I've actually heard apparently Cars 3 is a legitimately good movie.
Interesting.
Like apparently it's not like transcendental like, the upper crust of Pixar movies are, but apparently it's a very good like sports movie. Like they were comparing it to like to one of the Rocky movies where it's like you have an athlete who gets beaten down and you introduce the whole like you're getting old, so here's the new generation kind of thing. They were comparing it to stuff like that, and they were like, on that level, it works really, really well. Apparently,
I heard it make nearly as because for the record, Cars and Cars 2, those cars they print money. Like that's not like we talk about like Nintendo and how they can print money. The Cars movie are an entirely different level. Like those movies, they make an absurd amount of money in terms of merchandise, even at the box office too. But anyway. And then, of course, we talked at length about Coco. If you want to go watch the year in review podcast of the long run, we talk about Coco extensively in that. So, like we've seen that Pixar can knock it out of the park with things like Inside Out and Coco, but it's not as consistent. So, Incredibles 2, it'll be interesting to see where it falls in that line of consistency.
Yeah, it's almost like keeping up a combo string. Like you look at early Pixar and it's like Finding Nemo, Monsters Inc., Incredibles 1, WALL-E, Up, and it's like bam, 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 they're getting these juggles and then they start dropping it. And now it's like if we could get that string going again where it's like Coco and then it's like Incredibles 2, next hit, okay, and just keep it rolling, it's like they could come back. They could get back to the top. Because you feel like there's more games in town now. It used to just be Pixar versus DreamWorks. But now it's like you got Pixar, you got DreamWorks, you got Disney Animation Studios who...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I feel like their output is better than Pixar's in recent years. At least in some ways. Have? Those are the ones where it's like Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, Tangled, Moana, those. They really rose up during Pixar's kind of downslide.
Zootopia too.
Yeah. Because the thing is because when Disney bought Pixar, all the Pixar people just went into Disney Animation. So all the Disney Animation stuff it's kind of like with The Simpsons and Futurama. When Futurama came out, The Simpsons started going to shit because all the really talented people on The Simpsons wanted something new, so they went to Futurama. So Futurama was really good, and The Simpsons started getting really bad. So you look at that. Disney buys Pixar, all the Disney movies start getting really good, all the Pixar movies start getting and now it's balancing out a little bit more, I think. But it would be cool for Pixar to really mean something again, the way it did back in the day when they would put out stuff like WALL-E and Up and Ratatouille.
It made it look so easy, man. Like I know it's hard to like really describe in words, but like it was just like Pixar. It almost seemed like it was in Pixar's blood that they could do this. Like that they were just not able to make an average film for so long.
They were the Zen master sitting on the mountaintop. Everybody else was running around. It's like, look, we're playing Baha Men in our cartoon movie. Isn't that's something? And then Pixar
was that Shark Tale?
Yeah, oh my god, we need to revisit Shark Tale.
Shark Tale. I used to love
Shark Tale.
I like Shark Tale.
I used to love Shark Tale, and I have not seen it since I want to say maybe 10. I have not seen Shark Tale in years.
I don't know if we should go back to that.
But that's the thing, though, is you got shit like Shark Tale coming out where it's like, look, it's Will Smith and he's a fish and he's hip. And there's references to The Godfather for the parents. And then Pixar like descends from the glowing mountain with like, they're like hovering and they've got like their third eye open and they're like, my children, you admire a character more for trying than for succeeding. And everyone gets blown back. Holy shit. You've opened something within us, Pixar. And now it's like...
I can feel again.
Now it's like, Pixar, go back to the mountain.
Go train.
Get back up there.
Go sit under the Buddha tree.
You got to get back up there because Illumination is cranking out shitty but profitable films for peanuts. And you're dumping millions of dollars into making something that makes okay money and gets decent reviews. It's like, go back. Go back up there.
Wait, Illumination, you said?
Illumination. They're the ones that make the Minions and Sing.
Oh.
They're the ones that are making a Super Mario Brothers movie.
What?
Oh, did you not hear?
No?
Yeah, no, Illumination has the license to Mario. And apparently
God.
they're working with Nintendo. Shiggy is going to be an executive
Shiggy.
producer on the Illumination Mario Brothers movie.
Is that a good thing?
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe this will be their maybe this will be their How to Train Your Dragon. Like the way that DreamWorks is just putting out derivative trash, and then they put out How to Train Your Dragon and Kung Fu Panda, and it's like, oh, they found their niche. Maybe this will be it, where it's like everything they've put out is like cheap copy paste garbage, but now they have something good because the ghost of Iwata is hovering over them, threatening to haunt them if they fuck it up.
Why was Kung Fu Panda so good?
Kung Fu Panda
Kung
was
Fu Panda
fucking
had like
excellent.
there is no
Really
reason
shit.
why that movie should have been that good.
Yeah,
It
like
had
all of them.
choreography.
Like they shouldn't have been this good.
It had real choreography.
No way.
It's like it's the same thing how I was saying, like, imagine if like in 2014, like you take a time machine back 10 years and you're like, yeah, everybody's favorite superhero in the year 2014 is Groot. It's like now if you go back in time to like when fucking like Shark Tale came out, and you're like, okay, so DreamWorks is going to make a movie where Jack Black voices a panda, right? And he lives in China and he likes to eat, but then he's also a kung fu master, and it's called Kung Fu Panda. And the theme song is Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, but it's a cover by CeeLo Green. And it's like, wow, that sounds like the worst fucking thing ever. And it's like, nope, it's all gold.
It's like you would think, but
it's all really, really good. And it's some of the best kung fu action we've had in an American film in years.
Yep, you're not wrong with that.
That fight scene on the bridge when he's escaping the prison, it's so good. It's so unironically good. Oh, God. How did we get to Kung Fu Panda from Incredibles?
I don't know.
2?
I don't know where we were.
Oh, God. Well,
Shark Tale.
Shark Tale. I spy a segue. You know what else is a Shark Tale?
I know it's a shark.
A Shark Tale.
Oh, that's
the Meg. So
the Meg.
Let's talk at long last. Let's talk about the Meg. Now, where the fuck did we hear about the Meg? Was that during the long run retrospective?
If you want to hear our live reaction to the Meg revelation, check out.
It is some of the fun audio I have ever recorded. I had tears in my eyes when I was recording that.
I know what happened. We were talking about the Fast and the Furious, finishing off on a high note.
Yes.
And we were like, Jason Statham, what's he going to do now?
Right, yes. And we found our answer.
It's like
he's going to
punching Megalodon.
He's going to fight a big fucking shark in China. I can't wait for this movie. I cannot wait.
Like we thought it was a joke.
Like I just love the beginning. Like, in the beginning, it's all serious. Like the little girl is like in that underwater like base or whatever, and like the Meg just
actually effective. Yep. It's actually creepy. Like
it is. You're like, wow, that like this is really unnerving. Like I'm pretty scared of the Megalodon.
And then you watch the rest of the trailer.
Like this looks really creepy, and then Jason Statham comes in. It's a megalodon, and they start playing Bobby Darin, and there's a bit with a little dog where it sees the megalodon and goes and swims away. Oh my god, I can't wait. This might be my most anticipated movie of the year. I can't wait for this.
What if it is like the next Fast and Furious? Like, what if they just go like full balls to the walls, like absurd with this movie?
There's enough source material, apparently. Remember, this is like a multi-novel book series.
There's the
Sharkverse.
The Megverse.
The Megverse.
The Meg cinematic universe.
I mean, if it's like if they go nuts with it, like I could enjoy this. I could support that.
Like oh my god, just it eats some giant squid, and it's got fucking Dwight from The Office in it, and just the Meg, and it's called the Meg. That's
I hope. I
What,
really hope.
I have no words.
Mark, it's a
What could be
megalodon.
said about the Meg? It's a megalodon.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna be honest. I feel like this could actually be an effective, scary movie, or at least
It
have
could
some
be,
effective
or it could
drama
just
in
be
it.
so stupid that it's good.
Just because,
I mean-
like, there's this term. What was it? What was it called? I think it was thalassophobia, and it's like fear of the deep ocean. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna be real. That's something I got in fucking spades. I love the ocean, but the idea of being underwater and having limited visibility and not knowing what's around you scares the shit out of me.
Especially when it's so massive, like the megalodon could be real, and we couldn't
Exactly.
find it because the ocean is so huge.
Yeah, it's like they say, like, oh, we know more about space than we do about our own ocean. Like, the ocean is a scary fucking place full of gross, creepy animals and fish urine. Like, this could actually be as effective as a legitimate horror movie as it is funny.
Tell you, I'm glad that I live inland now. This thing's coming out. Like, I got the Great Lakes, but like,
that's
ain't no Meg coming.
That's the
with me.
sequel. The Meg is found in the Great Lakes.
Oh no! Oh no! It might die in there. There's a lot of industrial runoff.
How did it get in?
That's what makes it strong.
Who put the megalodon in the Great Lakes? You don't understand. It was there before there were Great Lakes.
It was put there by aliens, a race of sharks.
It evolved.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the Meg, and I'm really excited to do
August, I believe.
a review of that. When is it coming out?
Oh yeah, it's coming out this summer. Later
All right,
in the summer.
might come back for that.
Oh please, that would be a live event.
I would want to.
The
I
return.
think I'm willing to come back for the Meg. I'm willing to take that plane ride, no problem.
Buy a plane ticket to see the Meg.
You know it. Oh, I'm down. I'm so down.
Oh,
Let's
man.
see. So, anyways, that's something you guys can look forward to.
That's the Meg. So
And I got one more before you move on to Marvel.
oh yeah, go for it.
What?
So, have you guys seen the trailer for 8th Grade?
Oh yeah, this is Bo Burnham,
Get
right?
up real quick.
Yeah, pull up this trailer for
think
8th
so.
grade.
It's too real, dude. It's like I'm feeling this trailer. I'm like, this
I
is
completely forgot about this one, and it's A24 as
it's
well.
A24.
Yeah.
I'm like, this trailer is like you always have these teenager movies, and it's always like a really like poor representation of what it's actually like to be in middle school and a teenager or whatnot.
Yeah.
And with this one, it just seems almost too real.
Can you post
like
the
uncomfortably
trailer, Jake?
real?
I have not seen this trailer.
Yeah, I was looking it up right now. I got it here.
Yeah, it's like it feels like it's just like we are just too old for it to be our generation, because you got the main character like putting makeup tutorials on YouTube and like
Oh yeah, that's right.
and using Snapchat and stuff. But it feels like it is like, even with that aside, it feels super accurate to like our generations in that specific age range. And it is.
I feel like it'll be really. Yeah, I feel like it'll be really interesting to see like the representation of the struggles of kids nowadays. Because like I don't know what the fuck they do. I know they have Instagram and like all this weird like social media life, but
yeah,
like I don't know what they do.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, I feel like middle school is like the lamest time of anyone's life. Like, elementary school is great and idyllic because you're a kid, and high school is like, depending on what your experience with high school is, at the very least, you're practically an adult, so you can start being like a human. Like, you start to develop tastes and like major life events happen and stuff, whereas middle school is just there. It's just a time of like it's an awkward middle ground. And I feel like this,
and it's not fun for anybody.
Yeah, like I feel like this gets that bittersweet tone really well.
I'm looking at it right now,
and I mean
that's what it seemed. Did you watch it yet, Adam? Or
yeah, the one bit in this trailer that I think is the realest is when they're like it's at the very end of the trailer when she's at a party and they're all doing karaoke and she looks like she's about to shit her pants.
Yeah, I was like, this is too real.
Like,
oh my god.
It's like that was me. That was very much me. I remember getting anxiety days in advance when I think it was Alex got Rock Band. And I was like, we're all gonna hang out this weekend and play Rock Band. And I was like, oh God, if there's going to be singing in a social setting, oh God, I should practice a song. And I remember being in, I think it was actually 8th grade, being like all hung up on this. And it's like,
I might have been there.
I think you might have been there. But I remember very specifically, I listened to, I think it was Beat It. It was like a dozen times because it was before I developed musical taste too, and it's like, there's a lot of very specific memories.
I'm sorry, what a rat tail!
Period, and I feel I see a lot of them represented in this movie. Oh, you just got to the rat tail. Yeah, there's a big fucking rat tail. I'm probably gonna put that guy in the thumbnail somewhere because that is a powerful rat tail.
He's a super Padawan. Let's see. I mean, I the one scene that comes to mind for me is like when she's at that pool party, and she's just like, oh, I don't know what I should be doing right now. And it's like, oh, yes, I've been there.
Yeah, right?
I know how you feel.
Freaking.
And it's so good that they got like what seemed like middle school age kids to be in this film.
Yeah, really. They clearly got people who are in middle school. They didn't do the whole like Dawson's Creek. We got like a bunch of 30-year-olds type deal.
Yeah.
Fucking Andrew Garfield is not going to show up and be like, it's really rough being a freshman in high school.
Holy crap, you guys are right. This is like almost too real, I think, for some people.
Oh, Burnham. It is too real, and I want to see it so bad.
It's coming out in July. Yeah, no, that is a must see.
I feel like every year we get these like coming of age like kind of stories that like one a year, I would say, or maybe like 2 a year that like really like knock it out of the park kind of thing. So movies like Kings of Summer when it came out a couple years ago, that was a big one. A way back, that was another one too. Like where like they really capture what it was like to be middle school or high school and going through those growing pains and stuff like that. There was another one I saw too. I think it was Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. That was a really good one too. Like just really, really great coming of age.
And the Dying Girl. Me. Is that the one with what's his face? Wait, who's the guy who plays oh crap, I can't remember his name.
That was
Woody Harrelson. Which movie had Woody Harrelson?
I know what you're talking about. It has the girl from True Grit. I'm looking it up. Let me look it up.
It's
was it Abigail Breslin?
Yeah. Edge of 17. Yeah, that was it.
Edge of 17.
Right. I really wanted to see that.
Yo, Woody Harrelson is like my favorite actor, I think. Like,
I know like you love Three Billboards.
Who is this guy who keeps showing up in everything? Honestly.
No, I haven't, dude. I'm sorry.
Oh, he was my favorite. Didn't y'all see that yet?
I have not seen Three Billboards.
Get on that, dude. Got to get on that. Evan saw it and he was like, he liked it a lot. So I was like super happy about that. Oh, what was it? I think, this movie looks too real. I think it's like, I want to show it to Julia because I feel like this might have been her in middle school. So I want to try and poke that raw nerve. All right, but yeah. Otherwise, the only other trailer that I can think of, which you've probably talked about.
Mark, you want to get into this for you?
Solo the. Dude, Did we get a? You know what? I haven't talked about Solo with you guys. Did we?
That's why I wanna hear I wanna hear what you have to think.
So I feel like, Mark, you're probably the one that has the most to say about this than all of us, because I know you've been very vocal about your opinions on it. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, basically, there's a wonderful little clip that I think kind of sums my feelings up for it exactly. And it was at some sort of Star Wars fan event. It might have been Celebration. And you got the peppy nerd interviewer where he's like really excited to be interviewing for Star Wars Solo's Star Wars story. And he's interviewing Harrison Ford. And he's like, "Are you excited as a fan for the Han Solo movie?" And Harrison Ford just stands there and goes, "Not really." And he just sandbags the interview right then and there.
Oh no.
And that's basically my thoughts. It's like, I don't give a shit about Han Solo's past. The fact that I don't know anything about it makes it way more interesting. And admittedly, it looks fun, but the fact that it's Han, I'm supposed to think that this kid is Han Solo, really puts a damper on it.
Trevor, I didn't know Trevor gets this loud.
Yeah, he's always this loud, dude.
See, I wish I could get that enthusiastic about Solo, a Star Wars story.
Me too. I mean, but Childish Bambino.
He's literally like, if I see the movie, because that's the thing. I've been thinking about getting a movie pass or something like that. Because I feel.
Ooh, get it, dude. Get it while you can.
Yeah. What's going on with that?
They're changing it around so that you can't see a movie a day. Instead, they're saying that you can only see 5 movies per month, which is still a really good deal. But granted,
that's still a great deal.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I feel like there's a lot of movies where I don't want to, and another one that we're going to be talking about later, where I don't want to be like a dick and be like, I don't want to support this, but I do want to see it. But also, I don't really want to support it, but I do kind of want to see it. I think Solo is definitely one of them because I'm curious about it. I want to see if it can be good, especially considering all the production troubles. But I also don't want to send the message to Disney where it's like, if it turns out to be bad, I don't want them to get the message of yeah, but I'm still willing to give you my money even if it is bad. So I feel like something like that would be great for movies like this.
Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. All right, let me try and
he's experiencing a cascade of emotions.
I know. I think he's just I'm happy that he can get it. It brings my heart joy that he gets so excited about Overwatch.
Yeah, but what do you guys think about Han Solo movie, Star Wars Solo?
I'm just really I don't know if confused is the right thing. I'm just gonna watch it and take it for what it is at this point. There's just been so much, I don't want to say water under the bridge, but so much drama about Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and then Ron Howard getting brought on, and then stuff about the main actor.
Yeah, they had to hire an acting coach for him and I think Emilia Clarke.
Yeah. Well, which I'm not even that mad about, because it's like, if you need an acting coach, hire the fucking acting coach.
Yeah, right.
That's only gonna make things better. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure Gary Oldman still has an acting coach or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not even that upset or whatever about that. It's more I don't know how you can go that long into a movie and then decide you know what, Phil Lord and Chris Miller are not the right types. There has to be some sort of miscommunication or something that happened. I don't know.
They were saying that apparently what's his name in charge did not like that they made it a comedic fun heist movie. And that his original intention was for it to be the dramatic story of Han Solo.
Lawrence Kasdan, right?
Yeah, Lawrence Kasdan. And it's nobody fucking wanted that. Nobody wanted this to be dark, serious Han Solo movie. If you're going to do it, make it a fun adventure.
Yeah, that's what Star Wars is.
Well, even then, a part of me isn't even mad about that, because if that's Lawrence Kasdan's script, you know what I mean? If he's the one who wrote that script, then that's he should be able to make the movie that he wants. Yeah. It's more if you're going to hire Phil Lord and Chris Miller, you know what they're known for.
Exactly.
You know what they do. It's really not difficult. You watch the Lego movie, you watch 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. What did they do after that?
They did. They made Clone High, You know, it's like
Yeah.
if you're gonna get the guys who did like the Lego Movie and Clone High and the Jump Street films, and then you're gonna complain when they make that movie funny, it's like, what are you doing hiring them then?
Like how did that never come up in the pre-production negotiations? That's
Yeah.
what doesn't make sense to me.
Like especially because their MO is they are the guys you call when you have a corporate need to make a movie. When you say we have the license to 21 Jump Street, we have the license to Legos, we need to make a movie, find some people who will make us a profitable film off of this license, and they'll take it and make something really creative and imaginative and well made out of it. The Lego Movie should have been shit, but they took it and made it this generation's Toy Story. 21 Jump Street should have been trash, but they went a completely different direction with it and made something really fucking excellent. And then they did it again. And it's like, that's their thing now, is when you have a financial obligation to make a film, you get some people who will actually make it a film. And that's very much what this is. There was no creative spark that made the Han Solo movie. Disney had the license, and they needed another slot filled. So fuck it, make a young Han Solo movie. But then why get them?
Yeah, that's what doesn't make sense to me. So I'm like, I like Ron Howard. I think Ron Howard can be hit or miss, but he's made some incredible films. Like I'm talking like greatest of all time up there. Like one of my favorite movies ever, which I always recommend people watch, is a movie called Rush. Like I've never watched Formula One in my life, and that movie made me want to get into Formula One. Like that's how good it was. So he's a great director, and I think that there are stories worth exploring in the Star Wars universe. And Jake, I'm sure you'll be happy to hear this. Woody Harrelson is in the Solo movie.
I know, I forgot about that. Why do you think? Now I remember why I was so excited about it. I was like, Childish Gambino's in it. You got Woody Harrelson. It kind of looks, kind of, I don't know, just those two guys. I mean, there's a quirky droid or whatever. What more can you ask for?
Yeah, I think that there are certain things that can be done. And I really hope it's good, because no one wants to see it. If it's a bad movie, then that makes it worse for everyone. Like, when I say worse for everyone, it makes Disney look bad, Star Wars movies look bad, because especially after Last Jedi, they got to knock something out of the park. Because that movie really left a bad taste in people's mouths. So I hope it's good. I want it to be good. Am I expecting it to be good? No, not really. I'm more expecting it to be like a 5 to a 6 out of 10 movie for me. That's what I'm expecting it to be, all things considered. But I love it for it to be like an 8 or a 9.
Yeah. You never want a bad Star Wars movie. It's just the odds are very much against this one, I would say.
Wait, what movie has gotten people riled up?
Last Jedi.
Yeah, definitely Last Jedi.
Was it really like
very polarizing?
That bad?
Very polarizing.
Oh yeah. That's
true. I guess all the old fans are all butthurt because it destroyed my canon.
See, that's the thing. I wasn't too crazy about it just because of the 3 arcs. I feel like only one of them worked.
What do you mean, Mark? You didn't like Canto Bite?
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, Canto Bite was like the the only thing that could have made it better was pod racing.
So for those of you who don't know,
that's the worst part.
For those of you who don't know, The Long Run actually did a review on The Last Jedi, and it was the longest thing that we've ever done in our lives. It was 5 hours long of discussing one film and really dissecting it. And I think we I don't want to brag, but I feel like most people did not put in the time that we did into something like that. I think that's probably one of the most extensive breakdowns on the internet at the moment.
Yeah, we said everything that needed to be said about The Last Jedi, I think.
All of it. We had to take breaks for that.
Yeah. It was an endurance test.
Yeah. We went scene by scene
podcasts.
Exactly. But like I think at the end, even through that review, you could see there are some people that really loved what they were going for, some people who hated it, and some people were just like, they had some good ideas, but it just wasn't executed well. And I think that's a reflection of, I guess, the general public reception to the movie.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. The state of Star Wars now is an interesting thing, I think.
How do you feel, Jake? How did you feel about Last Jedi and going into Solo, I guess, besides the fact that Woody Harrelson and Childish Gambino's in it?
Oh, what? I mean, I have hope for it. Like, I'm kind of excited to see it, just because I was hoping that it'd be like some cool little, like, stylish heist movie or whatever. And I mean, now that you guys are saying maybe it's not that, I'm a little wary, but at the same time, I know that so it's going to be one of two things. I doubt it'll be a bad film. It'll probably be an enjoyable film, but will it be a film that Star Wars fans like? That's the question. And I enjoy Star Wars a lot. I like the lore, I like the extended universe, but I was never like a diehard, episodes 4 through 6 are my, end all be all, So I liked Rogue One. I think that's my favorite, which isn't like, the most popular opinion. So I think I might enjoy this, but I can say that maybe like diehard Star Wars fans might not.
Yeah, it's definitely. I'm definitely going to be very interested to see how this one turns out.
Yeah,
but
we'll see. I mean, like, again, don't want a bad story. I just can't wait for more young Lando. That's all I want. Young Lando.
You know that if they started making this young Han Solo movie now after Black Panther came out, it would be a young Lando movie.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, they should still make a young Lando movie.
They got
what have we here? The smoothest brother? Yeah.
Brother in the galaxy. I mean, if you know, like, there's apparently like a comic with Lando and like what's his buddy's name?
Lobot.
Yeah. And it's like apparently like a really fun romp and like kind of hard.
I've heard it's very good
because of what happens to Lobot. Poor guy. But go read that. So yeah, I think there's a lot of depth for Childish Gambino, for Lando.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see him act. It's fun time.
I fucking love Donald Glover. He is a true triple threat. But yeah, if there's anything that's giving me hope with Solo, it is him. He carries the fate of this film on his shoulders.
Strong and capable.
So I know
shoulders.
This is kind of like not something that you're planning on discussing, Mark, but I am very curious. You've been kind of critical about the anthology film in terms of this and saying like this is not what anyone wanted. What do you want to see from not even anthology films, but from like Star Wars after we finish this sequel trilogy? So obviously we have Rian Johnson's trilogy, and obviously we have the Game of Thrones guys, their trilogy, which we don't even know about. So disregarding those, what do you want to see out of whether it be anthology films or a new trilogy of some sort that's not part of the Skywalker saga?
I mean, like, the easy answer is to just be like, oh, I want good films. But, like, the problem is that I think Disney is having with Star Wars, especially compared to the way they're handling Marvel, is the fact that I feel like they're forgetting that Marvel was sort of born out of uncertainty. Right. It was like, well, here's Universal had the Hulk and Iron Man was at Paramount, and it was a bunch of like back alley deals and handshakes to make the Avengers eventually happen. And it's like after that happened, it made itself basically. It just kept going. Whereas now they're kind of expecting like, well, it's Star Wars, so we make The Force Awakens and then we could do whatever we want. And it's like, well, it took Marvel a while to get to the whole, like, we're going to have one film a year type thing, or to the point where now they're having like 3 a year. And I think that especially with like The Last Jedi, because we learned that like they don't have a plan. They don't know where they're going with it. Like, which is not to say that with the original trilogy, Lucas knew where they were going with it, but he had some sort of idea. Whereas with like J.J. Abrams, he came out flat out and was like, "Oh yeah, I have no idea what was going to go on with Rey and Snoke and Kylo, and I just wrote this mystery boxes." And it's like,
really?
Well, he had no fucking clue. He made a bunch of questions and then they gave it to Rian Johnson and went, "Here you go, come up with satisfying answers." And suddenly, The Last Jedi makes a lot more sense because he basically had to come up with all of that in between when The Force Awakens came out and when The Last Jedi had to be done. And it's like, you need to take your time a little bit more, because it took them like, let's see, Iron Man came out in 2008 and Avengers came out in 2012. So it took them like 4 years to go from I'm here to talk to you about the Avengers initiative to actually making it a thing. So it's like take your time and know where you're going before you're going to get there, and then get some filmmakers who can make it a good film and not like an assembly line product. Because I think that's the thing. If anything's going to kill Star Wars, that's what's going to do it. Is them not giving them enough time to make the movies as good as they could be.
Yeah, it is one of those things, and I believe you mentioned this, Mark, a little bit. Like they don't have their Kevin Feige, who's like making sure everything like fits in and like leading the charts. Like I think Kathleen Kennedy is supposed to be that person, but it seems like she's taking a very, very different approach to the storytelling, because it's not like Marvel where every film like builds on itself. Like they're Star Wars movies that are one-offs, just like Rogue One and Solo, alongside their sequel trilogy. So I think there's a lot of stuff like that. But to me, right? I think the end game for Star Wars is that they release two movies a year. That's what it seems like they're trying to build towards at some point. And I think it's entirely possible for Star Wars to do that. You just can't do obviously the Skywalker saga like forever. You have to start diversifying everything, and I think it's possible. But it just seems like they're not really hitting their stride as much as they would like to. But at the same time, kind of like what you said earlier, Jake. Star Wars, even more so than Marvel and DC, is such a hard fan base to actually please. Like to really knock it out of the park.
They're never happy.
Is insanely difficult.
Yeah.
Partly because they've been burned so many times. Sorry, George Lucas, by this the prequel trilogy. So their expectations are very, very high. But even more so than Marvel, they've had like these decades of extended universe, which are now legends, I should say, legends, where a lot of times people like those better than even the movies. And for Marvel, it was just like adapting, I guess, like the classic storylines and the classic characters that we all know and love onto the big screen. Whereas for Star Wars, it seems like they're trying to do this like really weird like mix mash of trying to take what the fans love and adapt it to the big screen, like not Ben Solo. Kylo Ren is a lot like Jason Solo from Legends in some ways, right? But at the same time, they're also trying to create like this pseudo original stuff, and they're really trying to like make it standalone and create their own mythology. And it's so difficult to pull that off. Like it's so easy as fans for us to like really sit back and criticize and everything. The amount of like effort it takes to pull off a movie like that and to do it well, the amount of moving pieces, like these productions are huge. You know what I mean? It's not easy at all.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I think the issue comes from the way that they're approaching it. Because you look at something like Marvel, and it's like that's like 70, 80 years of comic book stories that were made to all be tied together. And then you look at Star Wars, and it's like you have, at least going by the original trilogy, it's like you have a series of space operas telling one story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you can't expect people to react the same way to that kind of franchise as they do the Marvel stuff. Because it's like Marvel, you'll introduce a side character, someone like, say, Black Panther. He's a side character in Civil War. And then you say, okay, we're making a Black Panther movie that's just about him. People go, okay, fucking awesome. I'd love to see more Black Panther. But then you make something like this Han Solo movie where it's like, oh, we're spinning this off. And it's like, okay, we don't need this, but okay. And it's the difference in approach. They're trying to treat Star Wars like comic books where every single character is their own star. Mm-hmm. And it was never like that at all, ever. It was always one story. It was always the Skywalker saga, not counting the extended universe stuff. And it's like there are things that you could do with that. Everybody keeps saying make a fucking Boba Fett movie. And it's like, you know what? That could work because he is such a blank slate that anything you give us would be interesting. Or at least more than what we already have. Whereas the Han Solo movie, I will go out on a limb right now and say it's not going to have anything as iconic as like I love you, I know, or something like that, in terms of Han Solo's best moments, they're all going to come from other movies that were not this. Whereas with Marvel, you could say, oh man, that part where Spider-Man lifted the building off of him in the Spider-Man movie, or the part where fucking Black Panther teamed up with the Jabari in Black Panther, or the part where Doctor Strange outwitted Dormammu in Doctor Strange. And it's like, you're not going to get that with any of these. It's all just building the Skywalkers.
How do you feel, Jake, about like seeing everything? Because you're obviously not as like hardcore, let's say, like Mark and I am in terms of keeping up with production and also even with the legend stuff for Star Wars. So how do you see it, the approach?
Yeah.
Approach? I think... I mean, with the Solo movie, I thought it was like going to be like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've always wanted to, like, I thought it was just going to be a heist movie. And I'm like, you know, that's probably like a cool little thing of like Lando and Han. So I was really excited for it. And, but in terms of like their approach, I guess, I think I actually have been listening to a podcast about like the new canon of Star Wars by Jesse. It's like Jesse Cox's podcast. And it's called the New Canon Book Club. So they read the books, they watch the TV shows, they read the comics, and a lot of the stories in there are really cool. So like they have a good team making good stories. I guess just the movies that they make, the problem is that the movies have to be for that big audience, which isn't just Star Wars fans, it's everybody. Because Star Wars is just culture now. It's like nerd chic, you know. It's for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's kind of the trap that they're falling into. Like, where I think Marvel might have like at first been like maybe you could say it was nerdy, but it's like, oh, superheroes, right? Little boys like that. So you get that like young kid audience. And then, you know, they start just pumping out good movies and you're like, oh, I kind of like that because everybody likes superheroes, you know?
Yeah, that's why they bought Marvel, is because they were like, we got little girls locked down. We got this princess shit. We got all the magic and pixie dust, but we need to control all the youth demographics. So fuck it, just buy Star Wars and Marvel. And now like Marvel's grown to the point where it's like, you know what? Not just little boys like Spider-Man. And that's not to say that little boys were the only people that ever liked Spider-Man. Everybody likes Spider-Man, but now I feel like Marvel is very much an everybody thing, at least more so than it used to be. Like mainstream movie Marvel specifically.
But they got there being like really, what do you call it? They got there being just good at what they do, not trying to appeal to everybody, which I think is maybe the trap that Star Wars is falling into a little bit.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Like they're trying to be both. Like they're trying at both times to be like for the fans and for the people, and those things are just not in concert with one another. But hey, I mean, that's okay. I mean, we're still getting good stuff out of the universe, and if we get like, I just want a, what do you call it? Two things. I want a, what is it called? The Old Republic. I want an Old Republic.
That's what we all want. Old Republic all day.
I want an Old Republic thing. And then the second thing, I want a Wes Anderson Star Wars movie. That's what I want. I want to see TIE fighters flying in symmetrical patterns. I want to see like really weird looking stormtroopers in like cloth outfits. You know?
Ed Norton is like an awkward Jedi.
Yeah, and Bill Murray is like an Imperial.
Bill Murray. Oh no, but Bill Murray's a puppet.
Oh God, something like that. Yeah, I can see it. And I really want to see it so bad.
Adrian Brody is Kyle Katarn in Wes Anderson's Shadows of the Empire.
Yes. There we go.
Oh God, that I'd watch that. I'd pay good money to see that.
Oh, speaking, I know I keep dragging us away from everything, but there's two other movies that I saw recently that I thought were pretty good, and I was wondering if you guys saw them. First one was let me look at this real quick. So I think there was Isle of Dogs.
I didn't see it.
That was definitely one.
Okay, yeah.
Isle of Dogs.
I didn't see it. because Fox fucking kneecapped its distribution literally the week it was going to come out.
What the fuck?
And it's like, I get their logic, because it's like, now we can see how badly people want to go see it. Where it's like, if we limit the distribution and there isn't a bunch of social media buzz going, where the fuck is Isle of Dogs? I have to drive miles out of the way to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, then we could just sort of quietly sweep it under the rug. So I can kind of get it from that logic, but also, like, I'm probably not going to see it in theaters now.
Yeah.
I was around. I was in TR when Isle of Dogs was coming out. If it was around, I would have gone to Seacourt or Marquee and I would have seen it. But I'm probably not going to see it. I'll probably just watch it on 123 Movies now.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucks, because I feel like that's the kind of thing I would want to support. So they kind of fucked themselves there.
Don't worry, I saw it twice for us. I got it. And then the other one was Ready Player One. Did any of you see that?
I did not.
What was the other one, Jake? Sorry, say that again.
I've heard okay things.
I did not see it.
Ready Player One. And I'll tell you what, Jan was right. That was a really good movie.
Really?
It's interesting.
Like,
I'm
was
surprised.
because not only did we hear a lot of like not negative press, more like I'm not sure, like apprehension, because Mark pointed out a lot of it in terms of like it just seemed like a lot of references and no substance. But even then,
Yeah.
I hate to say this because Steven Spielberg is one of the greatest filmmakers of all time, no doubt. I really haven't been impressed with him in a long time, and maybe it's because his movies are not made for us anymore. They're like very historical and all that. Excuse me. But like I saw the post and I was like, damn man, like this is really like not a great movie. It's really like average in a lot of ways.
It's Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
And
like-
Meryl Streep won an Oscar.
And I really hate saying that because Spielberg is one of the most talented people we've ever had to grace the earth of of cinema in that sense. But yeah,
He's
but like
definitely left
I
his
wasn't
mark.
impressed by the posts. What else has he made? I personally was not a huge fan of Tintin. I thought it was all right. What's it called? We had Lincoln. Lincoln was good, but also for me like incredibly boring. I thought like I almost fell asleep watching that. I didn't watch Bridge of Spies, and there's just been a lot of stuff where he
Bridge of Spies was really
he-
good.
to
Just
me,
saying.
he hasn't captured that magic of Jurassic Park, of Saving Private Ryan, of Schindler's List, of Jaws, of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, of Raiders of the Lost Ark. I feel like he hasn't done that in a long time. So it was very interesting to see if he could be able to tackle a blockbuster again in Ready Player One, and it seems like according to you and Jan, Jake, that he was able to capture that magic. Because so much of what we know as blockbusters now, whether we like it or not, was defined by Spielberg himself. He's created so many things that we consider as blockbusters. Jaws, the first ever blockbuster, Jurassic Park, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and even E.T. to some extent too. Those are all blockbusters that define blockbusters from then on moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely curious about it, because I don't know if you guys are aware. Ready Player One has sort of been the whipping horse on this podcast. Like we've tried. Oh yeah, no. Literally the first episode we had. I ended up reading some excerpts from it specifically. Have you guys heard the excerpt from Ready Player One
No,
where he
I
talks
have
about
not.
masturbating?
No, I did not. They did not mention that in the movie either.
I'm shocked. It is some of the worst writing I have ever seen. It is terrible, but it also pales in comparison to the part in the book where he's talking about his car. And it is like, I won't suffer through another reading of it, but look it up when you get a chance, because it is downright painful.
Okay, I'll take a look.
But I'm interested to see it, because I have heard that the movie is apparently leagues better than the book.
It is honestly a really good movie, and to speak to the point of it's just a bunch of references and stuff like that, I kind of let them get away with it because of the way they justify it. And the justification, and this isn't a spoiler, this is just part of the film, is that the guy who made this VR universe, he was a guy separated from like the future. Like he was in love with all this 80s stuff. He was like, why can't we just go back? Like he couldn't deal with people. He couldn't live in the real world. He just wanted to live in this fantasy of the 80s. And that's why everything is themed from the 80s, is because it's his world that he created. It's his like little scavenger hunt that he made is themed around things that he knows, which is all 80s stuff. And the reason why the character is so obsessed with the 80s stuff is because he idolizes this guy. So he's like, that's all he knows too, you know? So I give them a pass on that, in that sense of they actually have reasons for having these references and stuff like that. And it's all very tasteful, I must say. It's kind of like, it's what you would imagine if like the real world had like this VR thing. Like people are going to be out there. They're going to be like in their tracer skins and whatnot. They're going to be living out all their little fantasies that they grew up with as kids, which is like, you know, Transformers, Ninja
VR
Turtles.
chat the movie.
And sorry, what'd you say, Mark?
VR chat the movie.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah, there was no Ugandan Knuckles. Not a single Knuckles. That's how you know it was. But there was a lot more depth to that movie than I expected, and I was very pleasantly surprised by it.
Huh. Yeah, I do kind of want to check that one out.
I think it's worth a watch. I don't know if it's still out, but I think it's definitely a movie that would be better in the theater because you get like, you know, just it is kind of like an action film, but it does have a story it stands in. So.
Yeah.
But still worth seeing.
Huh.
I'm glad I could tell you guys about it. And Isle of Dogs was also like real fucking good.
Yeah.
Stylish as hell.
Well,
anyways, all right. That's all I got. So take us there, Mark.
No, that's the thing. I wish I could have seen Isle of Dogs. I think it's out pretty much everywhere now. So maybe I'll be able to catch that in the coming days.
Oh, good.
But,
definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, coming up soon, we got also, I think, the final trailer for Deadpool 2.
Oh, yes.
Which I really, really like the first Deadpool. I think it's a really, really good superhero film, action movie, comedy. It hit all the marks, and it missed pretty much all of the pitfalls that I was worried it was going to fall into. And this one looks kind of like more of the same, but in a good way. You know, it looks like more of the good shit that I liked. But Adam, I remember you were saying something that you weren't sure about this one.
So I'm not even saying that's bad.
Deadpool 2.
I think I was overstating a little bit beforehand, but I just feel like it's moving a little too quick. I feel like I hate to like project here maybe, but I feel like Fox, after seeing the money that Deadpool's making, they're like, hey Deadpool, you want to start that franchise for us? We want that X-Force. We want that X-Force.
Here's $1 billion.
And then we'll make Deadpool 3. And just think about all the money, you know what I mean? Like, I wanted another, like, I feel like they could have done a more Deadpool-centered story instead of trying to incorporate X-Force and all of, like, these extraneous characters. Because, like, what I loved about the first Deadpool was how focused it was on Deadpool himself. And how shockingly touching the story was between him and his girlfriend, or, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting her name off the top of my head. But, like... It was shocking. I remember talking with Jake about this because we went to go see it together. It was it was our date night, right. And it was just like so, like I was surprised at how much I cared about this love story between these two characters, and I don't know, like I wanted to see more of that focus between Deadpool and some of because there's already a lot of side characters in Deadpool, the first movie, and in this one they have all these different team members and the X-Men, and it's like. I don't know. I don't want Deadpool to get lost and trying to launch a franchise. What I mean to say is I don't want to see another Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm sorry. Like I hate to throw your boy Andrew Garfield under the bus. You know, I hate to throw him under the bus, but I just don't want to see that happen again.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that with the whole like moving maybe a bit too fast because that was the thing. Deadpool was practically like an indie film. It did not have a very high budget. It literally only got made because Ryan Reynolds leaked the test footage and like financed a ton of it himself. Like it was a little movie that could, and it went on to make a disgusting amount of money. So now it's like, here's the one where they have an unlimited budget. And it's like, I don't know, because sometimes limits can really make something special. Like in the first one, the whole climax. Originally, it was going to be a big bombastic action sequence with like a ton of guns and stuff. but they were basically filming it as they went, and then they realized they didn't have the budget for that, so they had to put in the joke where he leaves all his guns in the cab. And that led to that led to the climax where he just has to use his swords to take out like a dozen guys. And it ended up being way funnier and more inventive because of that. But it's like, here's a movie that has no limitations. And it's like, they're going to have to account for that, I think.
I mean, if you go by it, like Deadpool, when people say like, oh, like, you know, I wasn't into Marvel movies before, but I saw Deadpool and I really, really liked it. Like that's
For
like
sure.
a very common theme, I think. Like my brother for some reason really anti-superhero. I think he watched Deadpool and really liked it, really enjoyed it. And that's a common theme with like a lot of people. Like Deadpool's their go-to. So I really hope it'll go. Now you guys got me a little worried. Don't do this to me.
That's the thing. I'm excited to see it because that's coming out next month. And I would be surprised if I didn't like it, but I wouldn't say that this is a situation where I'm going to assume it's going to be better than the first one. I will say my expectations are tempered. This is me sitting back and saying, okay, go ahead, impress me. And I want to see what they can do with it.
Do you feel like? Okay, so here's one thing I will say. Josh Brolin looks incredible, like amazing as Cable. And I never thought I'd say that because there's so many other front runners. Like I remember, like Brad Pitt at one point was really interested, and even just thinking about that, having someone like Brad Pitt as Cable, it's like, ooh, man, imagine that. Ron Perlman was up there. I know,
Perlman and what's his name?
I know
from
Michael
Avatar,
Shannon at one point was also considered
guy
as well. Like these are some like really fantastic actors, and that's good.
It really shows you where the film industry is. That there was a point for a couple months there where the hottest role in Hollywood for like 30-plus-year-old men was fucking Cable for the Deadpool sequel. Like, again, that's another one of those things where if you went back in time to the year that like X-Men Origins Wolverine came out and you said, oh yeah, this is the hottest ticket in Hollywood right now, every guy wants to be in it, every big name male actor wants to be in the Deadpool sequel as Cable, no one would have believed you. No one ever would have thought it would get this far or be this big or be this good.
You hit the nail on the head there. Like that's how incredible it is where we come so far for superhero movies, right? Where we're like the top tier talent of Hollywood, and we're talking like Oscar winners, people who are masters at their craft. They want to be in these movies, not only because of course they're very, very fun and they make a lot of money, but I think people are starting to recognize the complexities that often go into these characters from comic books, from superheroes. Like Ben Affleck, like that dude, he's an Oscar winner. He's literally won the Best Picture Oscar with Argo. Like if there's anyone that knows how to make a good film, it's him. And you have some other fantastic actors that have been involved as well, whether it be like people like Michael Douglas or Heath Ledger, Christian Bale. You know, we talk a lot about these people and even people in the Marvel movies. What's it called? Brie Larson. She just won an Oscar too for Best Actress. Like these are people who are tried and tested. You know, that they know what they're doing, and they are very, very good at their craft, and they want to be a part of these movies. And like what Mark said, that's a testament to where superhero movies are at.
Yeah, definitely. It's in a very fascinating place. But then again, I think it's also worth noting that not everything coming out is gold, because we still got Sony to deal with.
That's right.
Yeah. So a funny story about this. Apparently the design for Venom was leaked on like a soda bottle a couple weeks ago.
Somebody released it too soon.
Yeah, no, that was actually in my notes for this episode of the podcast, because I've been taking down notes whenever I see something interesting to talk about. Which, before we move on to Venom, Deadpool 2, one thing I would be very surprised, well, not very surprised, but I'd be a little surprised if they didn't include this, because I feel like with all the fourth wall breaks we've seen already, like he's making fun of DC, he's making fun, he calls Cable Thanos at one point and stuff like that. I'm wondering if they're going to put in a reference to the whole TJ
Did
Miller
not.
thing.
Or no, I
Did
heard
you
about
guys hear
TJ
about
Miller.
that?
Like he like said there was like a
did
terrorist
not.
attack or something. Yeah, please go ahead.
What?
Okay, so basically, TJ Miller is on a train, and he gets really, really fucked up and drunk, and he gets into an argument with some lady. And so TJ Miller's solution to this, to deal with this conflict, is to call the police and say that there's a bomb in this lady's bag and that she's going to blow up the train. So TJ Miller calls in a fake bomb threat because he had a tussle with some woman on a train.
That's
Yeah. So that's my hope for Deadpool 2, is that at some point TJ Miller's character calls in a bomb threat or something. I think that'd be funny as fuck. But
oh yeah, I forgot he's in the movie. He feels like he's in everything now.
he's in a lot. He was in the Emoji Movie.
You know, actually, can I
What?
admit something about the Emoji Movie?
Yeah. Go
So-
for it, Jake.
I was like, Trevor and I were sitting around here, and he was like, and I was like, Trevor, put something on Netflix. And he was like, all right. And he puts on the
Oh,
Emoji
no.
Movie.
Oh no.
And I was like, damn it, Trevor. Like, why would you do this to me? I'm like showing him all the reviews. I'm like, it's like look at this, Trevor. Like, nobody likes this movie. Why would you do this to us? You know? And there we are sitting watching it. And honestly, I was surprised at like how, like, mind you, I was only half paying attention. Like, I was like doing the dishes and stuff like that. But like, honestly, it wasn't like super, super terrible. I feel like people started circle jerking how bad it was. And by no means is it like a great movie, but it's like a passable movie in the same way that like how I enjoyed the B movie. Like it was clever.
That's a
Uh-oh.
double feature. Emoji Movie and B Movie.
I watched the B movie again recently, and I was like, you know what? I really like all
Really?
these B puns. I like this little B world that they set up.
That needs to. I feel like that requires a Nine Lives style viewing party.
Oh,
we
you
should,
bet it does. I'm always
get
down to
together.
watch B movie, dude.
we should get together, triple feature: Shark Tale, B Movie, and Emoji Movie.
During the Meg too.
Yeah. That'll be the chaser for the Meg. We'll have,
Oh god.
we'll have to come down because the Meg is going to put us on another plane of existence. We're going to need to level ourselves back out.
But with
Come back down
so we took a stimulant and now we're taking a depressant.
we got to speedball the Meg and the Emoji Movie.
There you go. That should be fun. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
God.
Trevor actually unironically enjoyed the movie though.
Huh.
So I don't know if I could trust him anymore.
So yeah, TJ Miller bomb threat joke prediction for Deadpool 2. That's my one expectation for the film. But yeah, like I started to say before, Venom's design got leaked on, I think it was like a bottle of Sprite or something. And that was actually going to be one of the talking points. But then I don't know if Sony intended to release the trailer at this point, because it first showed at CinemaCon and then they released it later that night. So I don't know if they were always going to release it like that, or if they said, fuck it, the design's out there, fast track it. But either way, Venom trailer is out. We know what Venom looks like now.
Oh boy, I want to hear Jake's
what are our
thoughts on this.
What do we
one.
think about Venom? Jake, what do you think about Venom?
From Venom?
Because you're
You know
someone
what?
that's not
Wait,
as
wait,
like
wait,
super
wait, hear my
into it
thoughts.
as we are. So I'm always curious as like an outsider perspective kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, I don't have the I saw it and I was kind of like, this kind of looks interesting. I was thinking like this guy like I don't know much about Venom except other than like what I saw in the other Spider-Man movies. And I was thinking like this could be kind of cool. It seems like some sort of like he's trying to reveal like some government secrets and whatnot. You have Venom being a character that's talking to him kind of thing. And I don't know. I think I just kind of like the look of the trailer. And I know I've been burned by trailers before, so you can't be trustworthy. But I am kind of interested to see this movie. It doesn't bother me that there's no connection to Spider-Man because I'm just like, all right, this is just the world it's in. That's cool. But the only thing that does put me off of the movie is that makes me think like, oh no, this is going to be bad. Is like the one scene where he jumps on the motorcycle or something like that.
He does the sick bike jump.
Yeah, he does the jump, and then to get back onto the motorcycle, he like does a weird Venom thing to like pull himself out. And I'm like, why did you need to do that? Like, was that supposed to be exciting or like surprising? And that's what makes me think like, oh no, maybe this is all the good parts they just showed me. That's it, and this is the real movie.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are because I know I couldn't tell like if I was supposed to be upset about this movie or not. Like,
I know that we both have a lot
I
to
think
say
you have
about
more
it.
to say just because I
Adam, you
know
wanna go
how much
first, or should
Venom
I?
is near and dear to your heart. I've seen you have like the comic books, like some of your favorite comic books, the covers with Venom on them. So I think
like
he's
Venom
a
a
bit
lot.
more beloved to you. But as someone who grew up on the animated series, and just in general with Spectacular Spider-Man and also the original comics, Venom is a character that's I think misunderstood by a lot of people. Like it's very easy to make like Venom incredibly lame. Like it's very easy to just make him
definitely.
a token evil Spider-Man. Which is not where I think the character's like strengths lie, even though that is undoubtedly a part of the character. As for this film, like I gotta tell you, I love Tom Hardy. Like Tom Hardy is one of my favorite actors ever. But like I don't know if he's like sleepwalking through this. I don't know why he's doing this. Like, yeah, like
He sounds like Woody Allen. He's going through his. I don't know about this symbiote. Oh gosh.
like I feel like he always does this accent whenever he does American movies, where it's just like, you always got this thing. You got a debt. It's like, dude, like. Tom Hardy's such
you work for an evil person.
Tom Hardy is
like,
such a good actor. Like he's a chameleon, man. He can do any role. Whether it be
Literally
Bane,
anything.
whether it be Bronson. I know Mark, you reviewed that movie, and he was
Bronson. He is fucking incredible in Bronson.
Tom Hardy is one of the greatest actors of our generation, and I have no doubt.
You could show someone Bronson, Dark Knight Rises, and Mad Max, and say, yeah, that was the same guy, and they would not believe you.
Yeah, like
that's how good he
exactly.
is.
Like there is no doubt in my mind that he is probably going to win multiple Oscars by the time that he passes on or whatever, or retires like Jack Nicholson.
passes on.
But my point is that like I almost feel like this might be one of those deals, where Michael Bay has that deal where one for me, one for you, where like he would do a Transformers movie and then they would like do his like Pain and Gain or like his what was it, 13 hours or something like that. I feel like that's got to be something going on here because there's no reason why he would do this. I feel like the project Sony doesn't have a good track unless they just unloaded like that dump truck of money. Maybe that's what it is.
I think what I think it is. I bet you that Amy Pascal was like, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. Marvel's going to put this in the MCU. Don't worry about it. You'll be in the next Avengers."
I don't know, man. Like it just if that's the truth, I feel like they could use Tom Hardy for so much better, like a different role. Like I don't even know if I think he is our Eddie Brock. You know what I mean? Like there's so many characters that need great actors to bring them to life, kind of like what you saw with Guardians. Like you need a good actor to elevate these obscure characters into the mainstream, and I think Tom Hardy's someone that could easily do that. Like I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but who knows? Maybe Tom Hardy is the best Beta Ray Bill, and we just never got to see it, or something like that.
Tom Hardy as Beta Ray Bill would be fucking amazing.
So
holy
like
shit!
I just don't understand the casting and the choice of this all, and so it also follows the trend of the rated R superhero movies with Deadpool, and I know Todd McFarlane, is making his Spawn movie.
Supposedly,
yeah, which I guess is following a cool trend, and I'm glad that we have R-rated superhero movies, undoubtedly. However, I don't like. How can you make a Venom movie without introducing him through Spider-Man first? Like, it doesn't. The entire character's basis, the entire reason why he exists, is because of Spider-Man. You have to build off of. That.
Why is
mythology.
that? Why is that?
Why what?
Why is that? Why is he based off of
Because
Spider-Man?
the entire the symbiote, or as they call it in the trailer, what is it, symbiote?
Symbiote. They call them symbiotes.
Yeah, the symbiote
It's like,
was originally Spider-Man's replacement costume in the comic book event called Secret Wars,
Wars,
which was around the 80s, right?
Yeah.
And so he wears it until eventually he realizes that it's like a parasite. It's a parasitic relationship. And then he eventually decides to get rid of the symbiote because of the effect it's having on him psychologically and how it's like just like really destroying everything what it means to be Spider-Man. So in that sense, he gets rid of the symbiote. And the symbiote, the way it works is that it gains the powers of its original host. So whoever gets the symbiote after Peter will always have the powers of Spider-Man. So that's why it goes to Eddie Brock, because Eddie also hated or I should say Peter Parker and all this other stuff, blah, 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 blah. Marky, we could probably know the mythology a little bit better than I do. But essentially, the entire basis for Venom at first is to get revenge on Spider-Man, because both Eddie and the symbiote hate Peter and Spider-Man. And so their entire goal is to basically kill Spider-Man or just get revenge. And eventually, there's like Peter fakes his death or whatever, and Venom turns sort of into like an anti-hero kind of thing. Where he becomes like what's called the lethal protector, because Venom really isn't that bad of a guy. At least, I don't want to say not that bad. He's like eaten the people before, so and he's killed people.
I've been thinking about it. I feel like if you're gonna do Venom properly, you want to do Venom the same way that they did Thanos in Infinity War, in that he is a guy who is not, ooh, I love being evil. He's not twirling his mustache. He's not, I'm so fucking angry. He legitimately believes he's doing the right thing. And he doesn't really have any beef with anyone, but he's going to do what he wants to do.
Besides Spider-Man. Obviously, he has beef with Spider-Man.
Venom thinks that he is owed retribution against Spider-Man. Peter Parker did Eddie Brock dirty. Spider-Man did Eddie Brock dirty. So once the symbiote gets on him, it's like, all right, I have no animosity towards anybody else. I don't want to hurt any civilians. Because that's the other thing that I find really interesting. I was actually flipping through, I have the paperback just called like Birth of Venom. And it's just like a couple of the Black Suit issues and the first couple issues where Venom shows up. And he kills like a couple civilians. But every time he does, he gives like this big soliloquy about how he's like, it's a shame that innocent life must die, like rest in peace. And then he like pulls back the symbiote face and like gives him a little kiss on the forehead or something, and like says a little prayer. Like he's like a devout Catholic. And it's like, that's really interesting, because you could see how like fucked up and damaged he is, and the fact that he doesn't want to be hurting anybody, but he really wants to hurt Spider-Man.
Eddie Brock in general is like and the symbiote by extension, I suppose, it's a massive character study of like someone who's incredibly flawed and wants to do good things and wants to and isn't inherently a bad person. He just does bad things, I guess. Like
they keep boiling him down to just being evil Spider-Man, and there's so much more to him than that.
So Mark touched on the whole thing about him being a devout Catholic. He gets the symbiote because Eddie goes to church and prays to God about like Peter and what's been going on. And
yeah. He's gonna commit suicide because his life is so shit. But suicide is a mortal sin, so he goes to apologize for it first.
Yeah, and then at the same time, Peter goes to the clock tower of said church, and because the weakness of the symbiote is sonic frequency, like sound.
It doesn't like sound and fire, because those are the two things that can't exist in the vacuum of space. So it has no defense for it.
Obviously, Peter goes to the bell, starts ringing it, and that's how he gets the symbiote off of him, because otherwise it was not going to come off of him. And as the symbiote gets away from Peter, it finds Eddie a suitable host, because they both hate Spider-Man that much, or Peter by extension.
Yeah.
So, and there's been a lot of development of not only the symbiote itself, but also Eddie. I know he's become anti-Venom, and then he became Toxin or something like that. And then I know the symbiote itself has had multiple hosts.
Eddie is the OG. Eddie and Flash Thompson.
I know it's went to Scorpion before. It was pretty bad. But awful. now he goes to Flash, and now it's like a good Venom suit. Like it's called Agent Venom, and like he's been on the Avengers before, from what I understand. And on top of that too, it's very hard to tell Venom's story like in terms of sequentially without including Carnage, because Carnage's story is just as important to Venom itself, because that's what brings Venom and Spider-Man together.
Yeah.
It also adds in like the drama of the symbiotes themselves and how they interact with each other, because Carnage is an offshoot of Venom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, basically what happened was like Eddie Brock was in jail, and he was in his cellmate was this guy named Cletus Cassidy, and then the symbiote comes and frees Eddie, and then Eddie escapes. But there's like this small it has like this small part of the symbiote that was still in the cell, and then the cell goes on to the symbiote goes on to Cletus Cassidy, who then becomes Carnage, who's even more powerful than Spider-Man and Venom combined.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But like that's the thing. Like my issue with the trailer, because that's the thing. Gotta be honest, design of Venom looks fucking solid. It looks like Venom, especially when he's got his mouth closed. It looks like the OG Todd McFarlane art, and that's what I really wanted. Because I've gained a great appreciation for the original Venom design, where he's not like a giant hulking monster. He's like a bit taller and a bit beefier than Spider-Man, but he's just got like a big mouth. He's just got like a big smile on his face. He doesn't necessarily have like the fangs or the tongue or anything like that. So I think he looks fucking awesome when he's got his mouth shut. Even with the mouth open, still looks fine. It looks okay. Voice is really good. I love the fact that he says, "We are Venom." Like, you could tell they knew that they had to kind of sell it after fucking Topher Grace in Spider-Man 3. And so in that regard, they made the right choices for this trailer. But I can't get excited for it because, again, they already totally disconnected it from Spider-Man. Everybody was saying, "Oh, Tom Holland is totally going to have a cameo or something like that. They're going to finagle it somehow." Right. You know, they're going to do the Logan thing where he's already got the symbiote and all the past is left in mystery. And that way, if Marvel wants to scoop it up and retcon it into the continuity, then they can do that down the line, and then you could do a Venom origin story later. And it's like, we could still make this work. We've got Tom Hardy and we're making a Venom movie. We can't waste this. But then they outright said, like, nah, it's just it crashed and a lab gets it and Eddie goes to the lab and then he's Venom. And it's like, well, you took all the intrigue out of him. Then.
Because now it becomes so.
He's the Hulk. He's the Hulk, but with goo instead of gamma radiation.
I want to make something clear in that. I think it's perfectly okay to create new mythology of characters, to create new material and like original takes. Like, it's perfectly fine to do that. And
look at Guardians of the Galaxy. That worked out fabulously.
Exactly.
And there's very little taken from the source material on that one.
Yeah. And so it's not that we're like, I know for me and Mark and certain other fans, it's not that we're disappointed that they changed the source material so much as I feel like they're changing it into a completely different character. Like, it's not even Venom or Eddie anymore.
Why is he gonna have a spider?
Does he have a spider on his chest?
People are saying that he might, but that could just be a lighting thing. But it's like if Venom has. If we get a full body shot of him and he has the spider logo on his chest, it's like, well,
yeah, that'll be really
then?
Weird.
What is the symbiote? Is Eddie like afraid of spiders? So it's like, oh, this will be a threatening symbol or something like that. Like, the whole reason he's got eyes like that is because he used to be Spider-Man's costume. Like, the way I described it is, it's like if Warner Brothers finally made that Joker movie that they're looking to make with Joaquin Phoenix. Right. And it's like, oh, it's the Joker movie. It's the standalone Joker movie. But also, this is a universe where Batman doesn't exist. And also, it takes place in like Salt Lake City, Utah. And also, he doesn't fall into the vat of chemicals. And it's like, okay, well, that's not really the Joker then. I mean, you could call it the Joker, but we're all going to be like, well, where's Batman? You know? There's going to be drastic elements of that character missing. So when eventually, like, and that's the other thing too, is this movie's not going to have any longevity because Marvel Studios it's eventually going to get Spider-Man back. Eventually, like, Sony can't sustain this. Like, we're just going to make our own Spider-Verse thing. It's not going to happen. Marvel's getting Spider-Man eventually, and they're eventually going to do Venom. So then this is going to be that other movie where Sony fucked up Venom before Marvel got it and did it right and had him with Spider-Man.
What if this was just? What if they call? Okay, what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't the Venom movie? What if it was just like called Symbiote or something?
Well, okay, so even if it was like, let's say it wasn't even a Marvel movie, let's say this was some sort of pseudo horror movie where there's someone that gets like taken over by a monster. Let's say,
Sequel to Life.
Oh yeah,
like
what was
let's
did
say
you
that.
see that?
I didn't. I wanted to, and then I heard it was okay, and it was out of theaters in
Yep.
like a week or two.
All right, Adam, go on.
What I was trying to say is that like even if that was the thing, I still think the trailer is terrible. Like the movie simply does not look good. Like the dialogue is really really bad. I'm talking like middle school writing.
Why is it,
bad.
what's so bad? Like, give me an example.
So in one of the, I don't remember the exact words, but when he sneaks up on that person in the store, it's like, for someone that's supposed to blend in perfectly for your job, you really are shit at it. And then he says something like,
Not you. You
yeah,
suck.
but not you suck. And
Delivered really weird. His delivery is really
and
off
then he
this.
says like, you work for someone that's evil, or like your boss is evil. It's like, instead of showing, they're telling you the characters and what they do, and then even the tagline of "Embrace your inner anti-hero." It's like, oh my god, like you couldn't come up with something better than
that's
that.
that's
Like
true. That was pretty bad.
that's
Yeah.
literally horrible. Like even saying "Embrace your inner demon" would be better, but like inner anti-hero. Like, how did that even get to the final trailer? What's wrong with you people?
Maybe they're trying to.
How could you think that was
trying to
actually
build
good?
like a like maybe this is all like a big misdirection because embrace your inner anti-hero sounds like something they put for like the Deadpool movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a goofy term. It's like, and it's not what the tone of this is going for at all. At least not what I can tell
it's a
from this
huge
trailer.
misdirection. Who knows? I don't know why they do that.
Either way, it looks messy as hell. Like visually fine, great. I love Tom Hardy, but I'm not going to give a shit about it. This is going to be another one of those where like if I have nothing better to do, I might catch a matinee, like it'll come out and I'll be like, "Oh, it's out."
And so
No, but nobody's looking forward to this because what is it going to lead to?
there's a couple of things that come with it too.
So
So
maybe
the director's Ruben Fleischer.
Sorry. Say your,
No, it's okay. I'm sorry, Jake. I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
I cut you off, so you go on.
What I was going to say is I think that Ruben Fleischer is a decent to great director. Like, I love Zombieland. That's still one of my favorite movies of all time. Gangster
Yeah.
Squad was kind of eh. It also unfortunately came out around that time where there's like the theater shootings, and so that kind of like screwed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And 30 Minutes or Less wasn't a bad movie, but also wasn't a great movie. So it'll be interesting to see how he kind of takes his property. And I hate to say it, but Sony just simply doesn't have a good track record. Amazing Spider-Man 1, Amazing Spider-man 2,
Fucking abysmal track record.
Spider-Man 3. Like, it just, they don't really make great movies. And I'm sorry, but Amy Pascal, man, like, I'll never forget, Mark, that one time when she was doing that interview with Feige, and then she talked about how Venom was gonna be tied into the MCU, and Feige's just speechless.
We're just gonna let them have Spider-Man for this one, and then we'll bring him back, and his fucking eyebrows shoot off of his forehead. Excuse me?
There were so many great memes that came off of that. Like, I remember there was that, like, I've altered the terms of the deal. Pray I don't alter them anymore. And then
when she says she's moving in with you.
yeah. No, I remember what you said, Mark. Literally, it was like Feige has that face as if like when that Tinder date that you went out with yesterday is moving in and saying, "I'm moving in because things are serious" or something like that. Like, your line was perfect for it, man.
No, it's if you. I feel like again, I might have brought this up on like every episode of this podcast. If you haven't read those leaked Sony emails, go read those because oh my god, it really gives you startling insight into how things are run over there. Have you guys seen those?
I saw the hot yoga Spider-Man. I saw that one.
Yeah, Spider-Man should be listen to EDM on his MP3 player and tweet hashtag NBD on fleek on his Instagram while doing Tough Mudders because millennials are into those.
Was that a real email?
And it's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh my god, yes, yeah. And it's like, oh, yep, that's why Spider-Man had a cool skateboard.
Oh.
That's why he looked like Edward Cullen in those movies. Because they were really trying to appeal to the millennials, to the youth. But No, it was funny though. Actually, I was sitting at the bar the other day, right after the Venom trailer had come out, with one of my coworkers, and we were talking about Venom, and we were basically having this same conversation, like, whatever, it's not going to amount to anything, it's not going to be anything special, etc., etc. And I came up with an idea, and I want you guys to tell me if you think this would redeem everything Sony is doing right now. Okay, so what would you do if the Venom movie, it ends and he's Venom and he's swinging around being Venom, and you get to see him in the post-credit scene swinging around doing his anti-hero thing, and it zooms out, and it's a big web, and in like one of the web things you see Venom, and then in another one of the web things you see the CG animated Miles Morales, in another one you got Andrew Garfield, you got Tobey Maguire, you got Tom Holland. And then you just see Madam Web sitting in a chair watching all of it. And that's
so you're
how it
saying like
ends.
this leads into the Spider-Verse kind of thing?
Because that's what they're doing with the animated
right.
one. Is they've got it's called Edge of the Spider-Verse.
Oh, you're right. No, that would be really cool.
That would be sick.
Right? Like I would actually be down for that if that was the post-credits scene. But I feel like instead they're going to try and build up the Black Cat Silver Sable movie.
Please stop! Don't talk anymore.
What movie was that?
If they
but you don't understand.
If they did Spider-Verse,
you don't understand. They're both girls who know Spider-Man.
If they did a Spider-Verse movie with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland, and Emma Stone as what's the word?
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen. That's what they call her. Spider-Gwen.
That was their idea at one point in those leaked emails. They were like, in case we can't get Sinister Six off the ground, in case everything gets fucked up, we've got Tugboat on the phone, and he could come back and be Spider-Man in Spider-Man versus Spider-Man. It's like, man, they had no plan. They didn't even know what they were doing.
Oh well.
So, Jake, what did you think of the trailer?
What? I thought it was all right.
It's all right.
I didn't mind. I mean, like that. Like I don't care that there's no connection to Spider-Man. It does not bother me. I understand that it's a part that it could be weird, and I really hope that they take into account that they don't have the spider on his chest, or that they don't like do that. But I mean, at the end of the day, if it's a good story, it's a good story. My hope is that Sony's like, all right, well, we're probably going to lose this in like a year or so. So let's make a standalone story. Let's make it cool. Let's make it a little weird, and that'll be that, because there won't be any follow up. And that would be cool. Would that be all right with you guys? Because I know you were saying like you're not going to get invested with it because it's like it's not going to be a Sony thing for very shortly. So what if it was just like a really weird kind of off the beaten path Venom movie that stood alone, didn't have any connection?
I will say this. I'll say this. I'm not upset that Deadpool and Logan are in the MCU, because they were really, really good movies. This would have to be on the level of something like Logan.
Oh, I see.
For me to be like, okay, well, it's not really Venom. It's not the Venom I wanted, but it's a really good Venom. It's the same thing again with like the Joker, where it's like Heath Ledger Joker, not the Joker that I would want to see in a movie, but it gets a pass because it's so good.
Yeah.
Like it would have to really transcend. Like it's working with a hell of a handicap.
Okay.
But who knows? Maybe this will be Sony's first really, really big one since like Spider-Man 2.
I hope. That's all we can do, man.
Yeah, but now we can stick on the Marvel train, but get a little bit more positive. Because now I believe we all saw Infinity War.
Oh boy.
Oh,
I'm gonna say this right now, Mark. You gotta cap our discussion. Like, you gotta give us just a finite time limit, because we can talk about this movie for like literally hours.
Right. We'll tell you what. Oh man, you know what we'll do? We'll have a crossover of our own. We'll do the long run can be the multi-hour go scene by scene one, whereas this we'll give more of a brief overview.
All right.
Because we are already damn, we are getting a bit hefty with the timeline. But yeah, no. Normally at this point in the podcast, we talk about whatever movies we saw this month, and it's like I watched some good movies this month. I don't want to talk about any of those though, because I also saw fucking Infinity War, and oh my god, this movie was everything I wanted it to be and more.
Pretty much, yeah.
And incidentally, before we go any further, I will say spoilers from this point onward.
Yeah.
I'll put a timestamp in the description if you have not seen Infinity War yet. But basically, this point until pretty much the end of the podcast is going to be spoiler discussion on Infinity War. So, yeah, gentlemen, what did we think of Avengers, Marvel's Infinity War?
They pulled no punches,
Man.
dude. They pulled no punches. They killed Groot.
What can you even say about?
They
Oh
killed
yeah,
Groot
full spoiler
again.
warning, by the way.
They killed Groot.
Fucking everybody's talking about how fucking sad the Spider-Man one was. And you know what? I'll give you that. The fact that I watched Spider-Man turn into dust hit pretty fucking hard. Didn't hit as hard as watching Rocket Raccoon realize that he had to watch his best friend and now son, his best friend's son, die the same way that his best friends did.
Oh wait, is that
Groot
not
went again?
Is that not Groot? Is that a different Groot?
Oh yeah, no. James Gunn confirmed Groot OG Vin Diesel Familia Groot is fucking dead. Baby Groot is a new Groot.
Oh, I had no idea. Oh my god, no.
Yeah. So like Rocket Raccoon raised like his dead best friend's son. This is like if The Rock had Vin Diesel's baby in like Fast and the Furious 16, and then that baby blew up again, and he's like, oh no.
Oh, that's so terrible.
No. They went in on this movie. Is this where we want to start? Do we want to start at the end?
Whatever. We can make this free form, man. We can make this free form.
All right, that works. So yeah. What are our thoughts? What are our thoughts, Adam? What did you think about Infinity War?
This is the greatest block. Okay, so like, let me just say this. I know right now that I'm high off of this movie and like hype of it. It actually got me so hyped that I ordered today. Brian Michael Bendis' new Avengers, like Volume 1. Like that's how hype. Like I just like I need my fix, dude. Like I need a fix.
The new Avengers.
But anyway, so I think this is possibly the greatest blockbuster of all time. Like I really mean that.
Wow.
And I'm not trying to say that it's on par in terms of like it's different from like a Logan or a Dark Knight, where those are trying to be like hardcore like dramas that are what's it called? Trying to transcend the superhero genre. I don't want to say this is fan service at its finest, but this is everything that we've been waiting for 10 years. This builds up, and this is the finale of what we've all want to see, the face off. Like this is the perfect way to bring our comic book fantasies to real life. And it might not it doesn't, just because it doesn't mean that it's not a good movie. Just because it doesn't, take the drama and I guess the social commentary or whatever compared to your Logans or your Dark Knights, just because it doesn't do that does not mean that it's not a great film. Because this is not only one of the best blockbusters, if not the best blockbuster I've ever seen, and one of the best conclusions, or I guess semi-conclusions, we'll have to really wait and see until Avengers next year, that I've ever seen to a franchise or to an arc, I should say. But also, this is like people, I can't understate. It cannot be understated or overstated, whatever the phrase is. It cannot be under/overstated how incredible it is that they pulled this off. This has never been done in the history of not only cinema, but also storytelling and art in general. Spending 10 years trying to build up to one story, trying to interweave all these different films so that you not only care about each of the characters, but each of them has their own story that interweaves into a greater narrative that pays off into one film that everyone knows about, but you feel compelled to watch every single solo film because not only do you love the characters, but also you're still waiting for that grand finale that we've been talking about since 2012. Like that is unprecedented in cinematic history. And not only that, the film was so good. Like, not only is it crazy that the movie even
it was so fucking good. They did it.
On top of that, not only did they pull it off, like everything about it was great. Like somehow they made it so that like 50 plus characters or whatever in the movie you feel like you're getting a taste of all of them and that you're not missing out or anything like that. Like, we've done all the character development and all those other movies. Now it's all about what we've all been waiting for, what we wanted to see. Now it's about all this action happening. This is like the greatest season finale of a TV show that we've ever seen. And
Yeah.
I can't
That's a good way to put it.
The fact that they were able to balance this amount of characters and everyone has their own unique story and I guess the plot line overall, like everyone's separated into groups and what they're trying to do, and the fact that they were able to balance all that not only with the heroes but also with making Thanos could very well be the greatest villain of all time for the MCU. That says a lot. And I'm not going to tell you it's perfect. There are certainly certain things that I think could have been slightly better, but to me, this is still one of, if not the greatest blockbuster I have ever seen.
Damn, son. Yeah, like walking out of that theater, the feeling I had, and I'd almost forgotten what it felt like because it was fucking 6 years ago when the original Avengers film came out. Because I remember what it felt like building up to that. I remember thinking, oh man, it's gonna be a lot of hard work. They might not pull it off. There's 6 whole characters. You know, like, how are we gonna make sure that both Iron Man and Captain America get enough screen time? And it's like it feels so quaint now, you know? And I remember walking out of the theater thinking, holy shit, they did it. And it's exactly the same feeling I had with this one, is it was worth the wait, and they pulled it off. It should have been a complete clusterfuck, but it wasn't. Yeah. And I keep noticing there are a lot of negative reviews out there. Like, I know the New Yorker is like, oh, this is stupid because you have to have seen all the others, you know, to understand or care about this one. And it's like, no shit. It's like you don't turn into the last episode of Breaking Bad and start asking why we should care about Jesse Pinkman. Like, it's a sequel. That's the point. You know, this movie is this generation's Empire Strikes Back. If you watch Empire first, you're not going to understand or give a shit about a lot of the character stuff that happens in that because it's a sequel. So anybody saying that it's a bad movie for that reason is full of shit. But the thing with this movie is that there are two keys, I think, that, like, the 2 keys to success that make this movie work. Is one, I see a lot of people being like, oh, this movie's an assault to the senses. There's so much. There's no restraint. Yes, there fucking is. This movie showed so much restraint. You want to see...
What are you talking? Yeah, what are you talking about?
You want to see a movie like this that didn't show any restraint? Watch Age of Ultron. Watch Age of Apocalypse. Those movies are clusterfucks. They are not enjoyable.
I thought this movie was really, really clean, actually, when it comes to, like, the action. It holds
back. You know, you look at, like, the first scene in this movie, it's like, you think of all the things you'd expect to see in this, like, oh shit, Hulk's gonna fight Thanos, it's gonna be so fucking badass. Happens in the first 5 minutes. And you know what? Hulk gets the shit kicked out of him. And then he doesn't come back for the rest of the movie. The whole time you're waiting going, oh man, that rematch is gonna be nuts. And you don't get it. You're getting it in the next one. And it's going to be sweet when it happens.
Before I let you keep going, Jake, I just want to ask you, did you notice, like, that fight, like, how smart Thanos was fighting in terms of what he was doing? Like, he wasn't just throwing haymakers. Yeah. He went for the liver, he went for the ribs, he went to the body first, and then went to the head. He did the knee. I was like, yeah.
The fucking knee. Picks him up, fucking... Thanos fucking gorilla presses the Incredible Hulk.
Like, no, like, there's... Like, you could see that it wasn't like the usual brawling kind of thing. Like, he was like, I don't know, did he keep his guard up?
I couldn't see. I've only seen it once, so it's hard.
He was moving like a boxer. He was sticking and moving. That was the first thing I looked up when I got back, because I went on 1-2-3 Movies and watched the camera of Thanos beating the fuck out of the Hulk, and I watched it like 3 times in a row because the sound effects and camera movement in that fight is so goddamn cool.
Like.
It's the perfect tone to open the movie.
Exactly, and I love how they do the callback in the beginning of, like, we have a Hulk. And
we have a Hulk.
You think you're going back to what happened in the original Avengers, and then for the first time ever, I guess besides Thor Ragnarok, but Hulk
Hulk
actually gets his ass kicked. Like, he gets destroyed, and not only does it show how Hulk is always just kind of smashed
Yeah.
and never really had anyone to challenge him, but also shows,
Hulk
not
is
only is Hulk
vulnerable
vulnerable,
now.
but also
Hulk is
shows
scared.
that Hulk was always vulnerable, right? Just because he never had someone to match his strength. Like, Hulk is not actually that great of a fighter. He kind of just hit really hard. And you saw a little bit of that in Thor Ragnarok when Thor would actually do a couple maneuvers to like land good hits on Hulk. But in this movie, you really see it.
Mhm.
Like, what a smart fucking move. Like, here's this villain that we have been teasing and blueballing people for the past 10 years who hasn't done fucking anything. He sat in a chair. That's all Thanos has done. He hasn't done shit. How can we establish him as a threat from the get-go? Have him one-shot the Incredible Hulk. That's all you need to do. And now anybody who is not up to speed, they're fucking perked up because they know the Hulk is the strongest one there is until Thanos shows up. It's brilliant. It's so smart.
It's not even like he does like some big over the top like beam in the sky to like pin the Hulk.
He
and
didn't even
whatnot.
use the stone.
He just
kicked his ass.
he just punched him. Like it was like, and there was no fanfare about it. It was just like, you suck.
Yeah. Hulk tried to front and Thanos put him in a fucking corner. He beat his ass so hard he had psychological problems afterwards.
I really like this Hulk Banner dynamic, like how Hulk's like this kind of like this big kid, and Banner's also another type of big kid, and they're both having like these arguments.
Me too.
Like, oh, I like it so much now. But anyways,
you
that's besides
get
the
so
point.
much, and I love the thing too with the whole, we have a Hulk, because not only is that such a good callback, but it really shows the character development for Loki. Where it's like the fact that he, who was on the receiving end of the OG Hulk ass beating, is the one who says that line. And I think that is, in many ways, one of the movie's greatest strengths, is that, like you said, this isn't a Logan. This isn't a Dark Knight. This isn't going to make you think deep thoughts about humanity. But the character shit here, this is a character-driven movie. This is the culmination of 10 years of character development and growth. We see so many arcs come to a head and some of them close. We see if you compare Loki in the first Thor to Loki here, if you compare Thor in the first Thor, one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie was the bit where he was in the pod with Rocket just describing his life, basically, where he's like, yeah, my brother's dead, father's dead, mother's dead, people are dead. I'm gonna beat the shit out of Thanos, and he's trying not to cry. He's trying not to feel anything.
Yeah.
And you get to see Rocket Raccoon basically be like, all right, well, he hasn't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2 yet, so clearly this boy needs to learn that it's okay to cry and feel things. And it's like the movie slows down. You get moments like that. It's not all an assault to the senses. There are character moments here, and that's what I think.
I love that one part where they go off together, Thor,
totally.
Groot, and Rocket Raccoon, and then Rocket literally says, "All right, time to be the captain now." And like as simple and as much as that was a joke, that's also like the truth. Like that's actually Rocket stepping up to the plate and learning the lessons that he did from Guardians 2, right?
You see how much he's grown.
Exactly.
It's not like Age of Ultron, where everybody is a blank slate now, where we're ignoring all the development in Winter Soldier, so Captain America is just like an old fuddy-duddy again, and Black Widow is the girl. It's like everything that happened in the previous movies carries over here, and that's exactly how it should be. There's so much effort.
All right, Jake. Mark and I have been talking a lot. What did you like about the movie? What didn't you like about the movie? Like I'm curious to hear your thoughts, man.
Oh, I mean, thing that I liked about the movie, first part, I think was Thanos. I like Thanos a lot.
Talk about Thanos.
I like how charming he is.
He's a good dude.
Like he's just like his heart is in the right place.
he so believes that he's right.
Yeah. And he comes from like this, he's like a Magneto, like he's like, on my planet, like shit got fucked because nobody did anything, so now I need to do something before the entire universe gets fucked.
And it's this weird thing where it's like, so like he says it so calmly and with such conviction, but you could also tell he says it with a lot of like it weighs heavily on him. the fact that he has to do this.
Yeah, he does not.
oh,
like
yeah.
Not
it.
only does he have to kill Gamora, which I think was slightly not as impactful as it should have been. Like I would have appreciated a bit more backstory, just like a little bit. But you could still see how much it hurts him. Like I remember when the tears started flowing, and then Gamora's like, "Huh, tears? Like, are you serious or whatever?" And then Red Skull is like, "Those tears are not for him," or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like Red Skull didn't need to be there. I don't know why he was there.
I freaked the fuck
We
out
both
when
did,
Red
Mark.
Skull
We
showed
both
up.
did.
We were sitting next to each other. Man, I pity the people who were behind us. We must have scared the shit out of them.
I freaked out too. But that was because like I didn't know why he was there.
I looked it up, and apparently, it maybe just been how long since I've seen the first Avenger, but apparently at the first Avenger, he takes a Tesseract and says like he wants unlimited power or whatever. And then he gets beamed up, and apparently where they beam him up is to this soul place. And because
he gets lit on fire by space energy, and it's that very clever early Marvel thing where they weren't really sure how far this was going to pan out. So they had it like, okay, well, we could say he died, or we could bring him back if we wanted to. That's like same thing with Abomination. It's like we could say that he's in a shield holding facility, and if we ever need Abomination to come back, Abomination can come back.
Yeah.
But,
what I wanted to say though was like you could see the hurt, or not even the hurt, like just like how heavy hearted it is for him, how much it weighs on him.
He's seen some
that
shit.
he has to do this. Like when he says, what's it called? Like this is something that I have to do. Like it's my burden to bear. Like he says something like that, and you can tell like it's something that he believes. Like no one else is going to do this. I have to do it, even if I don't want to. And then there was also the thing too, where like you could see he was actually like truly hurt. Not only that, how much Gamora hates him, and like how much Gamora doesn't understand what he's trying to do, but also the fact that he has to sacrifice Gamora. And even there was that little moment too. I'm not sure if you guys noticed this or if you caught it. Like when he kills Stark and he tells Stark about like I do admire you, like I do see what you're trying to do, and he says something like I hope they remember you, because
teleports behind you, nothing personal.
And the thing about Thanos too is like when he says that he's cursed with knowledge, that's what happens when you get the Soul Stone, right? Because I believe it gives you the ability to know everything about everyone that you encounter. So he knows all about Tony's motivations, what Tony has gone through these past few years. Like remember during Avengers and Iron Man 3 when he was all traumatized by said experience, making Ultron, and that literally leading to the world almost ending, and then the trauma that he went through in Civil War, finding about his parents' death, and also the breaking up of the Avengers and the only family that he had, especially after Pepper and all that. So like he's seen what Tony has gone through, and I think that's what is reflected in what he says when he's just like I'm sorry, but like I hope they remember you, like I respect you, kind of thing. And that's the kind of lengths that Thanos goes to. Or even when Scarlet Witch destroys his soul gem, and then like he turns back in time, and then he says something along the lines of like, believe me, I know what you're going through today. Today like has been a day full of sacrifice or whatever. And it has been. And even when he loses that one member of the Black Order, like someone tells him and he's like, today is a day of heavy loss. Like he doesn't dwell on it, but you can tell it does hurt him. You know what I mean? Like
the fucking Ebony Maw. I loved the Ebony Maw so much.
Yeah.
He was so cool.
Yeah.
Is that the magician guy?
Yeah. Squidward.
Oh, all of them were so cool, despite having like no character. They were like, or like no story. They all were like such characters.
They served such a good purpose to the overall story because they were allowed to be we're big bad space guys. Arr! Like they were allowed to do that, while Thanos could go do his own thing. And like I remember they were saying like, oh, don't misunderstand. This is the Thanos movie. Like he's the main character of this movie, and damn if they weren't telling the truth on that one. Yeah, no, this is the Thanos movie.
So cool.
It's so cool because has there been something of this scale where they introduce a villain that gets this level of characterization in this way? And like I think as far as like the only thing that comes to mind is Empire Strikes Back, and even then that's it's.
Yeah.
Like I as far as superhero movies go, this thing is like it's a one of a kind. Like it is a brave new world.
The only other thing I can think of is Black Panther, but that's it.
Yeah, no, Black Panther had a really interesting villain with Killmonger.
A really strong villain. And then the other one, I guess, would be like Winter Soldier, where the villain was really cool, but he didn't really have a big role. Per
Yeah,
se.
like it's Josh Brolin is the takeaway from this movie. Like he is the standout here. I think everybody gives a really good performance. Josh Brolin was stunning because there were moments here that I ceased to realize that Thanos was a CG
100%.
effect. He just became a big purple character. He was a guy. Yeah,
Grimace.
I see this fucking Grimace waddling around, one-shotting the Hulk, and it's just like, yep, that's Thanos. That's
That's a guy. That's
the guy.
That's our character.
That's the main character of this movie. And there he is standing next to everybody else.
I'm so glad they took off his helmet.
I would have liked it.
I'm glad
because his armor in the very is cool.
I like it because it's just like he's just like I'm a dude. I like the message it sends of just like I'm just trying to do my thing. You can see him emote a lot better.
He can have the helmet for the next one where he has to be the big bad boss that they have to fight.
Yeah, but what if he's not? Like what I liked at the end. What really hits it home for me is the fact that Thanos is like, oh shit, like this was not a fun ride. This was really hard for me. I worked all my life to do this,
but now
and
I can sit back.
Like
and now I'm gonna
the
sit
closing
and watch the
shot,
sunset.
and it's from the original Infinity Gauntlet comic, but the
I was
closing
gonna
shot
say-
is so powerful. Like I can't even begin to describe how powerful that shot is. But keep going, Mark.
Of all the things I expected them to adapt from Infinity Gauntlet, the comic, Thanos living on a fucking farm with a scarecrow in the yard was not one of them, but they just went and fucking did it. That's what I found myself saying over and over again was, wow, they just went and fucking did it. Red Skull showed up. Everybody wanted that to happen, but it's like, oh, why would that happen? That'd be too out there. That'd be too crazy. They just fucking did it. Kill off like everybody. Do the snap and kill off everyone. Thanos wins. They just fucking did it. He lives the good life on the farm. They just fucking did it. Like, I reread Infinity Gauntlet literally right before seeing this. Like, I literally finished the last chapter right before we got to the theater. And I feel like that really enhanced the experience because there were a lot of little bits where I could see, even though it wasn't a one-to-one adaptation by any means, there were a lot of key elements of the story that I feel they adapted in really creative ways. Like, I noticed Gamora got Adam Warlock's kind of whole, like, I can't tell anybody the plan because then that's more people who know the plan who could jeopardize it. Like her whole thing with the Soul Stone where she couldn't tell Peter Quill what was going on with that. Little details like when he turns Drax and Mantis into a pile of blocks and some ribbons, which was fucking horrifying, by the way. I thought they were fucking dead. I thought they were dead, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's how they die. You get the two most like innocent members of the Guardians of the Galaxy die in arguably the most horrific way imaginable. They're just fucking gone. And it's like
Mantis and Drax.
Wait, what
fucking when Drax and Mantis got turned into when he turned him into blocks and she got turned into a bunch of ribbons.
Oh yeah, I was like, oh shit.
I legitimately like hand flew to my mouth. I was like, oh fuck, that's some kids are gonna get fucking nightmares from this, like hardcore. Thanos.
But the fact that they didn't die just shows like Thanos is not trying to kill people for no reason.
Yeah, it's like,
you know,
this movie. That's the thing about Thanos. He was fucking scary. They sold
really
his
was.
madness super hard, and not in a crazy like I'm so fucking you don't know what I'm gonna do. It's like, no, you don't know what he's gonna do because he's operating on a perfectly sound level of logic. It's just a different level of logic from anything anybody else is running
100%.
on. Like, and I love that they put that fake out line in the trailers where it's like, you know, normally you don't think about fun when balancing the universe, but this does put a smile on my face. And it's like, that wasn't in the movie. He's not smiling. He's not enjoying this. He is doing his duty. This is a job. This is his destiny. And he takes no pleasure in killing everybody, but it's something he has to do. And that makes it so much more intimidating than somebody who's just a big evil man.
I remember when like someone said like you're crazy for like, you know, genocide or whatever. He was just like he says something. If I recall correctly, he says something like it would be random. Like he's like, I'm not trying to kill anyone specific. Like it's entirely like random. It would be fair.
It would be fair.
And even the scene with Gamora on her home planet, like it's like almost in this sick, twisted way. Like you actually feel like Thanos isn't that bad of a person. Like when he takes Gamora and it says like, "What's wrong, child?" or whatever, and he takes her away. And like when she tries to look at when like her entire people are gunned down, he turns her away and gives her the gift and shows her what's going on with the balance. Like in a sick, twisted way. Like that's almost sweet.
He's like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. He's like, don't.
I'm not saying I'm not justifying genocide at all, but what I am saying is that like it does like give you you start to understand him. You really like he's really not that he has his heart in the right place, but
he thinks he does.
This is a man who believes so utterly in his beliefs and what he's trying to do that you can't help but understand where he's coming from.
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing is that that's what it nails is like a real villain wouldn't think I'm evil or like it isn't like super motivated by like these negative things. It's like a guy that believes that he's doing the right thing. It's just that right thing is not what our heroes believe is the right thing.
He's the hero of
He's a hero. Story. He is the hero of this universe. Yeah. And that's like that's like the same thing we had in Black Panther. Like and if it wasn't for the genocides for like the shipping like weapons to people, Killmonger would be the hero of the story.
In the one of the many lost episodes of the Long Run podcast, we went extensively into Killmonger and his like kind of motivations and how in like a slight deviation of that story, he would be the hero and T'Challa would be the villain.
Yeah.
He really because if you think about it, like I just like this point a lot. Is like Killmonger is the rags to riches story. He came from nothing. He was abandoned by his people, and he worked his way up through hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to get to where he was, to get to his home, and he won fair and square the right to be king. And he did everything. While T'Challa, he had a silver spoon shoved up his ass all his life. He was handed everything, and you know what? And like he lost fair and square, and then he cheated, came back, and took back the kingship. T'Challa is like the bad guy. He's like the rich bad guy in like a children's film. And yet,
So Thanos is just
the bad guy. So
Mark, we talked a lot. Mark, you go ahead. Tell us what you think about Thanos, especially since you just read the comic book and everything. Like, tell us more.
We could honestly do an entire podcast about Thanos alone. But like,
tell me.
I think it's worth noting. It's interesting. There is a big element of his character that was not present here, and I feel like some people might have some mixed thoughts on that.
I think I know what you're going to be talking about, but keep going.
I'm not. That's the thing. I'm not 100% sure that they're not going to introduce this in some way, shape, or form. But in the original Infinity Gauntlet storyline, Thanos is motivated entirely by his love for death. And for those who don't know, in the comics, death is literally a person. It is a
hot babe.
Yeah, it is a babe in a cloak. And sometimes it's a lady, sometimes it's a skeleton with titties, depending on which panel you're looking at.
Oh, yeah.
Thanos is all up in there. He wants to get all up in that.
Thanos trying to holla, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he is a nihilist who is literally in love with death. He wants to be death's consort. And so basically the whole idea with the Infinity Gauntlet is Thanos had been dead at that point. And Death noticed that there were more people alive than had ever died, which doesn't sound right, but whatever. So she resurrects Thanos because she's like, hey, this guy can tip the scales because he's a fucking beta orbiter. He'll do whatever I want. and he's like, hey, great. Glad to be back. Listen, I can do this thing that you're asking me to do. I'd be happy to do it. But you know what would really help is these Infinity Stones. So she gives him a little power boost. And he goes out and he gets all the stones and he becomes a god. And he's like, yeah, sorry, I kind of tricked you, but it was just because I wanted to be worthy of you. And the whole time she's giving him the cold shoulder because Thanos in the Infinity Gauntlet is pathetic. He is practically a joke. It is the saddest shit. It's literally like those screen caps of like the nice guys who slide into the DMs.
Oh god,
yeah,
where they get ghosted and they're like, okay, fine, slut. Like that's literally what Thanos is.
Yeah,
he
basically.
makes his own waifu to try and make Death jealous. He just makes girl Thanos, and he's like, "Look at how hot she is. She's obsessed with me. I don't even care about you." And then Death just walks away, and there's this great panel where he's just like, "Oh, oh." But yeah, Thanos is like a complete schlub in the comics, whereas here he's a much more respectable dude. And I don't know, part of me loves the whole Lady Death thing because it's got a very like mythic quality to it. Like it makes the whole thing feel a lot more grand in scale.
It's something like you wouldn't see that in a modern like story. That's something that belongs in like mythology or religion, like stuff from the like really old days. I'm talking like like Homer and like his books.
Yeah,
and
the
stuff
original.
Like that. You wouldn't see that today. Yeah.
Well, back when a myth was like, there was once a man who was very, very angry, so he walked up to Death and said, "Hey, Death, I've got a bone to pick with you." Like, that's how mythology works.
Yeah.
Like, shit like that, where abstract concepts were just made into people. And I really like that element, but Death is not present in Infinity War. And honestly, I felt like I was ready for it in that bit at the end where Thanos, he does the little snap, and he has that vision of little kid Gamora, and she's like, "Did you do it? Was it worth it?" and shit like that. I was totally expecting for him to walk up to her and for her to turn around, and as she turns around, just be a big skeleton in a cloak. And I feel like that would have been like an awesome haunting image to end Thanos's story on.
Yeah,
but
that
I know that my hopes for the next one, I really want, because half the fun of the Infinity Gauntlet comic is the bit that we kind of got here, where it's like everybody who matters is fighting one big dude, and it's a big awesome fight, and they all get their shit pushed in. But then you get to the next issue in Infinity Gauntlet, and that's when all the real G's show up. That's when when Galactus and the Stranger and Eternity, who is literally all that is, and Kronos, the god of time, and fucking chaos and order, love and hate, the Celestials, all these space giants show up and have a fight with Thanos that is so intense it blows up half the known universe.
Oh god.
Yeah.
And it gets
it
gets crazy.
That's get into the real abstract stuff of like Marvel, because they haven't even explained that in like the MCU, but
they had
the comics,
they had the Celestials in the one bit.
Yeah,
and it's like if that happened, that'd be the way everybody's saying like, oh, how are they going to top this one? It's like, at least in scale, get fucking cosmic with it, because now he's got the glove. Yeah, sky's the limit, baby. Go nuts with it.
The way it works, basically, Jake, since I don't think you read Infinity Gauntlet, as far as I know.
Did not.
But basically, there's a pantheon of like godlike beings, let's say, in Marvel Comics, where there's people like Eternity, Infinity, there's Death, there's not life. I forget what the antithesis of Death is. There's
abstract concepts.
Lord,
Order, and
Chaos.
Master
Chaos.
Yeah, one of them's a floating bald head, and the other one's like a floating like goo marshmallow man.
Hold on, let me grab Infinity Gauntlet because it's like right next to me. Hold on.
Oh, let me look it up too.
I love the designs of these dudes. There's this one guy, the Stranger, and they don't explain what he is, but he's just like, he looks like Sam Elliott in a leotard, and he's like 50 feet tall, and that's what he is. He's the Stranger.
Oh yeah, what the fuck is he?
Yeah, and it's like, it's just all these abstract, it's like in the depths of space, these all-powerful things exist, and they don't like that Thanos is about doing his thing.
Okay, so we have Uatu the Watcher, we have Eternity, the actual embodiment of all there is, we have Kronos, the Titan of Time, we have
the Living Tribunal.
Tribunal.
I love the Living Tribunal.
Yeah, so basically the way it works is
yeah,
that the Living Tribunal is like the second in command of the universe, right?
Oh, okay.
The first in command of the Marvel multiverse is the one above all, which is essentially God himself. Then we have Galactus, of course. We have some of the Celestials. We have the embodiments of love and hate. We have the Stranger, like Mark touched on before. We have Lord Chaos and Master Order, the Galactic Balance. And they all decide, like, they all show up to Thanos' front door, like, hey, yo, man, what you doing? What you doing over here?
You're an upstart, and we need to make you go sit back at the kids' table where you belong.
Yeah. See, this is going to be another like underdog story. It's going to be
really
Dennis,
is.
the young tech upstart, trying to go against the big giants of industry. Right? He's the Mark Zuckerberg of his age.
You don't get to 1 million followers without ending half of all existence. No, fucking. I love the Living Tribunal just because his whole deal is that he's a big giant with like a bunch of faces, and he can see into every possible reality at once and judges all of them. And literally, his purpose is in Infinity Gauntlet is they bring him in and they're like, "Hey, Living Tribunal, can you do some shit about this? Things are going to get really bad." And he basically goes, "Get good, natural order," and disappears.
Oh shit!
Without doing anything. But like, I think it's worth noting, like, as far as the MCU is concerned, even though they were just name drops and little cameos, we know Celestials exist because one of those showed up in
Guardians 2.
Yeah, in the first Guardians, and also Ego said that he was a Celestial. So you know Celestials are around. The Watchers are there. They were in Guardians 2, if only for a gag. The Living Tribunal is confirmed because they mentioned him in Doctor Strange. You got Dormammu out there. They'll probably bring him in because fuck it. Like, I would like to see them go really, really, really crazy with it because they started getting out there with this one, and I think they could really up the ante with some of these cosmic characters.
See, it'll be interesting because I'm not even sure if they'll do that, right? They haven't introduced Adam Warlock yet, which they talked about in Guardians 2.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting if they bring him in. But from what it seems like, the people who everyone died except the original, like the OG Avengers team.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's going to be like the OG Avengers team with like some extra characters like Ant-Man and the Wasp and some other people. I wonder if it'll be them, and then they go after like Thanos as like, you know, like bringing back the old team, and then they had to like sacrifice themselves in order to revive the old team, and then that's where the new Avengers comes out. But I'm not sure. Like, that's what it seems like to me. But it would be cool if they could somehow make it so it makes sense when you introduce all these abstract concepts. But I'm not sure. It'd be very difficult, I think.
There's one thing that I want to see in the sequel, because I've seen a lot of people talking about this, and this is another one of those things where it's like, this is so not necessarily that it's so obvious, but it's so perfect they have to do it. Where everybody was saying like, okay, obviously Ant-Man, Wasp, and Hawkeye, because they explained that they're not in this one because they took a deal with the government so that they could be placed on house arrest so they could see their families, so they're not out Avengering. Mm-hmm. As far as Hawkeye is concerned, everybody's saying next one, his whole family got dusted, and now he's Ronin.
Oh
no! Now he's going around as the Ronin, taking names.
Oh. Is that what Hawkeye is?
Yeah, in Ultimate Marvel 3, he's got that one alternate skin where he's got like the big Black Panther looking costume.
Let me take a look.
That's him. Yeah. There was a time where he lived in Japan and he was going around being a vigilante there. Oh. But no, I feel like that's the obvious thing for Hawkeye. Personally, what I want to see, because I've seen a lot of rumors where they're like, oh, it's going to take place 5 years after the snap happened. And, Tony Stark's going to invent a time machine or some shit like that.
That's stupid. No, fuck that.
What I want?
I know you don't like the time bullshit, Jake. I know you don't like the time.
The idea that Tony Stark would make a time machine is really stupid. I could almost buy.
He's like Tony's too fucked up to do anything now.
He's too fucked up. I will admit the idea where it's like, okay, Tony Stark, Bruce Banner, and Rocket Raccoon team up to make some kind of device. That's fine. The fact that they could make a time machine is really dumb, and I hope they don't do that. What I want to happen is I want them to spend like the first 5 minutes where get everybody back to Earth, and everybody's back to Earth, and they're all just sitting around going, "What the fuck do we do now?" And that's when the sky opens up, and fucking Uatu comes out and says, "Hey yo, I gotta break my solemn oath for like the 50th time this week." And they just do the whole Watcher Galactus thing, but you don't have Galactus. And frankly, this is more than Galactus. That's the one thing I don't like about the Infinity Gauntlet comic, is it's like the Watcher will show up for Galactus to help save the Earth. But then in Infinity Gauntlet, when Thanos kills half of everything that's ever been alive, the Watcher's just like, nah, I'm gonna let this pass. I'll allow it.
Uatu's very inconsistent, is what I'll say.
It's like, all right, dude, all right.
But anyway, so we're kind of like speculating now. Let's get back to the movie itself. So,
yeah,
we were talking about Thanos. We were talking about what else? What else were we touching on before we went into the comic itself? His motivations, right? You were talking about the motivations, yes. Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think that it would have been very easy to just keep Thanos as the guy in the chair, but they pulled off something really, really. It was really smart the way that they implemented Thanos and everything else, really, because like I was saying before with restraint, like to compare it to something like Age of Apocalypse or Age of Ultron, where those movies were just clusterfucks because they threw everything at the screen at once. This one, it's like, okay, we got 40 characters to deal with, and everybody's going to get something to do, but they're not going to get to do it at the same time. You got Strange, Iron Man, Guardians, Spider-Man. They're going to go fight Thanos. You got these people here in Wakanda. These people are with Vision trying to get the thing out of his head. It was very deliberate and organized. It was a very efficient movie for what it was. Mm-hmm. The scope and the scale of what they were working with. And I think it's clear that the Russos knew what they were dealing with and took it very seriously in a way that a lot of filmmakers in their position might not have. You know, because there's that temptation to just be like, we got all this shit, fucking throw it all, put it all in there. Oh man, this will be great. And it's like, no, hold back. Hold back. They put Hulk in the trailers and he shows up once at the beginning. And you keep waiting for the Hulk rematch and they go, nope, you don't get that now. It's going to happen in the next one. You know? You're waiting for some of these moments. You know, it's like Captain America and Bucky. It's like they get a little bit. Yeah. And that's it. They get a little bit. Everybody gets a little bit. Nobody gets more than their fair share. Because it's Thanos' show. And it feels like they drew the boundaries where they had to. The Russos were the responsible parents on this one. And I don't know, that's something that I really, really appreciated with it. But yeah, and I feel like it really, they bolstered up some of the, not to say less popular characters, but I found it very interesting, the characters that I was liking in this. Like, I think Thor might be my favorite Avenger now.
Yo, he's grown so much.
He's grown as a character. The whole bit with him and Peter Dinklage trying to make a new hammer, like, Jesus, there was so much fucking testosterone in that scene. I feel like I walked out of the theater with gains. Like, I need to put that scene on when I'm at the gym. That shit was incredible. It's like we're gonna get a really beefy dude, and he's gonna have to tank a star.
Wait, what was that? What was that? Say that again.
Oh yeah, what?
This just came to mind, and I just want to say, because we were talking about gains, I feel like in the Twitter tweets that you've been doing lately for your gym, I think you've lost some weight. I see some progress.
Oh, cool! Thanks,
I'm very proud of you.
Yo, check out Mark, man. Mark hardcore goes in that gym. You know what I mean? He goes,
what a hunk.
But well, I just have to say, Mark, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off as well, but
oh yeah, no worries.
I laughed so hard during that scene with the Guardians and Thor's there, like. That was,
yeah.
Oh yeah, man. When Will starts like making his voice deeper, like, it was just so good, man.
Are you copying me? No, I'm not.
or when Gamora's like touching his body, and Cole's like, okay, that's enough. Just so
fucking, I know a lot of people are like hit and miss on Drax. Fucking Drax just, no, you are a dude. This is a man.
Yeah, it's like, oh god,
his muscles are spun from steel.
Wait, no, what did she say? That was Gamora. She was like, it's like Galaxian steel.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying?
It was a lot of fun. And I like his dynamic not only with the Guardians, but also like like what you're saying, Mark. I love like Thor's evolution from like this super serious character, like Shakespearean, like yes, we're from Asgard and we're gods, into like this like
Yeah.
comic relief character that doesn't take himself seriously like at all, but also has turned into basically like the surfer bro of the Avengers. And
Thor,
but
go ahead.
really wise surfer,
Yeah.
bro.
Thor reminds
Surfer bro.
me of like, and this might be getting too specific with it. Thor reminds me of that one friend you have who is like really, really tough and really, really cool, and maybe not necessarily like the most book smart, but is also like the most honorable person you know. Like Thor is the big brother friend. He is the big bro. Thor is the Kamina of the MCU. At least that's what he's become. Because like his first deal was like he's kind of a prick and he's strong guy. And his one joke is that he's from fantasy world and he doesn't know what like a cup of tea is. And that's the joke. And now it's like he's become so much more than that. And I feel like it's not necessarily exactly like comic book Thor, but they found a way to make this character work in their universe, in this context.
And you know the crazy part is I feel like they haven't even hit their full potential with him. Like with Iron Man and Captain America, as much as I think there's more they can explore, I'm also okay with both of those characters dying and you know kind of passing on the mantle or however they want to handle that. But with Thor, I feel like we've barely scratched the surface of what you can do with the character, which is really unique to say about one of the core OG Avengers.
Yeah.
I think him and Banner both have a lot of ground to develop. Captain America and Tony Stark kind of had their arcs to a degree.
Yeah, like
So
I don't know. You know, another character that I really, really did like here more than anywhere else he showed up was fucking Doctor Strange.
He was great.
oh yeah,
I think
he was good.
I think they did him awesome in this. Specifically, there's one bit that, again, this was another bit that I looked up the second I got home the other night, and it was the first New York fight where Spider-Man joins in, and they're fighting. You got Doctor Strange fighting Ebony Maw, and there's the bit where fucking Tony Stark cuts him off and starts throwing out quips and shit. And they just sandbag him. They just fucking stonewall him. He's like, "Is this insect speak for you?" And he just goes, "Certainly not. I speak for myself." And makes fucking like brass knuckles out of magic. And you get a big like little like thunk sound as he does it. And I'm like, "Ooh shit!" Like he's not just the book guy with the cape. Like he can throw down. He's a fucking like Omega level threat as far as
I mean, that's definitely one thing I like too. Because in Doctor Strange, because it was his origin movie, you didn't really get to see him use his powers that much. And then of course, it's Dormammu, I've come to bargain kind of thing. But with this movie,
which is clever. I love that. But this one, it's like Doctor Strange is fucking
like
cool.
I'm pretty sure they use the Crimson Bands of Cyttorak to bind him, to bind Thanos. You see just a lot more creative uses of the powers. Because in the first movie, it was like, look,
he was the shadow clone jutsu.
yeah, it was like.
that was pretty fun.
He made Thanos embrace the iris.
And Doctor Strange in that movie, he was like, "Oh look, I made a portal. Oh look, I made a shield. Oh look, I made like a whip." Like it was like I guess that's cool, whatever. But this movie, they went all out.
You got to give him credit for that. Like that was it was good to see Strange get his due, and to have him banter with Tony Stark was actually pretty fun because they're like kind of the same character but from different like one's magic, one's science or whatever, or engineering, I don't know. And it was kind of cool to see them banter and whatnot and have like butt heads.
Yeah. No, a lot of fun character dynamics, a lot of fun character interactions. Everybody got a little something to do here, and I think that the fact that they have such a huge ensemble is fucking staggering. Like the fact that the only characters they had to not put in here were Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and Wasp, and technically, I guess, if you want to count Nick Fury and Maria Hill, but even they got a little something at the end there. And yeah, no, this movie was a triumph. This is going to be one of those movies where, like, 20 years down the line, the next big hot filmmaker is going to be like, "Yeah, I was a kid and I saw Infinity War and my life changed." This is going to be one of those.
Dude. That right there is what it's all about, I think. Like this is this generation's, their Harry Potter or their Lord of the Rings or whatever you want to call it.
This is the Empire. I saw a lot of Lord of the Rings in this. Honestly, that whole war scene in Wakanda where they're charging through,
bruh.
stuff. It had Star Wars. It had Lord of the Rings. It had like a lot of the first Avengers movie in it, but it took it all and built on it. Like, yeah, no, there was so much to this. In the same way that nowadays you have people being like, "Holy shit, remember, Luke, I am your father. Remember, there is no spoon. Remember all these great moments." It's gonna be. Remember when he got the fucking final stone, when he got the Mind Stone, and he snapped his fingers, and everyone turned into fucking dust. Like this is an event. People have said it about they've said it about the Avengers. They've said it about Civil War. Oh, this is such a big movie. Fuck those. This is a big fucking movie, and it's gonna hold up for years, I imagine. I hope I'm not digging myself a hole by saying that, but
no. Mark, die on this.
Looking at the shit we have, because like I feel I've watched like the first Avengers, and it's like it's fine. It's a fun movie, but it worked. It will never be as good as the first time I saw it in the theaters.
Yeah.
I feel like this one has a lot more to it than that.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of depth than just them throwing these heroes together, having them quip with each other, and then a big spectacle at the end. Like, this has just a really cool story that you can appreciate whether or not you are super into the comics, know the background, or have just been following the series. Or I think even if you just know the characters, you could probably enjoy this film. Just kind of having a cursory knowledge of them, because it's just a really cool movie.
Yeah, like that's the thing. We saw it with Matt, and he is not
Caruso.
Yeah, and he is not super kept up on all the MCU stuff. Like he's seen the big ones. He's seen the Avengers. He saw Civil War. He told me he saw half of both the first Captain America and Winter Soldier. Like, dude has not seen any of the Iron Mans. Like, none of those.
That's okay. The only one he needs to see is like...
Yeah, like, he came out with literally, like, one question, and it was, what happened at the end of Ragnarok? And other than that, like, people are saying, oh, you need to see all of them. No, you need to see all of them to appreciate the character stuff. You can understand this story just fine as long as you have a cursory knowledge of what's happening going in. But even then, it's a sequel, so why would you go in without knowing what's going on?
It's true. Yeah, since it's just part of the culture now, this superhero thing, so you kind of just know, just from being around it, like it's like Star Wars. Like, people know what happened in Star Wars, generally speaking. Even if you didn't watch like the original movies, you could still go into like episode 7 or 8 probably and know what's going on.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah, like...
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't want to oversell it, because like we said, it's not a perfect movie. I'd say it definitely feels its length. It didn't feel over long, but it does feel long because it is long. And, not everybody got all the attention that I would have expected or liked. But considering what they had to work with, I'd say it was a fact.
Like I said, the fact that you're even able to pull this off,
I think so.
Something. Like, regardless of it, like we all agree that it's not perfect.
And to pull it off so well,
the fact that they pulled it off so well, this is a miracle. Like, it's like, Doctor Strange says that, like, there's like, I looked at 4 million whatever like possibilities and we only win one. This is probably that one time that this actually worked.
Yeah, right. I remember I was at...
Wait, why didn't you tell them what that possibility was?
I think we're going to find that out in the next movie.
That was the thing. I admit that went over my head. And again, shout out to Matt for clarifying that on the ride back. Is the whole, like, I was a little confused as to why he gave up the Time Stone in exchange for Tony. And I just took it as like, oh, okay, that's his character development because he was being such a hard ass about it before. But then I realized, like, oh no, he saw how it had to happen, so he knew he had to give him the stone and let Thanos win.
That makes sense. I missed that too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's
Oh.
Infinity War. It was worth the wait and then some.
It was worth the wait, and I hope that the second one is. I hope that the second one can also live up to it, or at least end it. It doesn't have to live up to the highs. It just has to end it satisfyingly.
Yeah.
That's all I. That's all I ask.
It's going to be a long year.
Oh god.
It's going to feel
No.
weird going to see Ant-Man and the Wasp following this.
Yeah,
Oof.
I don't really care about that at all.
Yeah. I almost feel like they shot themselves in the foot with that one. Like, I almost feel like they should have just put this in their back pocket and released it around Christmas and gave us Captain Marvel and Ant-Man first.
I don't know.
Because they filmed this and the next Avengers concurrently.
I don't know. I almost feel like it's one of those things where no one is going to be happy with any of like the scenario unless you're able to watch both movies all at the same time. Because like I understand the reasoning behind trying to have Ant-Man, because it's like, oh my god, that was so serious. Let's have something that's a bit more lighthearted about characters that we know is not as serious or whatever. And obviously you need Captain Marvel, because Captain Marvel leads directly into the next movie. So you need to have Captain Marvel in between both of those Avengers movies. But I don't know.
Yeah. That one makes sense.
I think it's just, no one's going to be happy with whatever configuration unless they could see all the movies at the same time. So
Yeah.
So, whatever. Who? Okay, first, who is Captain Marvel? Who
well,
is this?
Captain Marvel is a title. It gets passed on through multiple people, but the current one is going to be Carol Danvers. I think you might know more about this than I do, Mark. Though.
Well, maybe. Basically, I know she's an Air Force pilot who ends up getting cosmic powers from the OG Captain Marvel, who was a Kree, who do not like the Skrull, and that's the one cool thing about that movie is the Skrull are confirmed to be the villains. So that'll be neat.
Really? In the next movie?
In Captain Marvel, yeah. And it's a period piece taking place in the 90s, so that'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Nick Fury is going to have all of his eyes. Ronan the Accuser is going to be there. Agent Coulson is going to be back apparently. But it'll be an interesting time, I think. I don't know a whole lot about Captain Marvel. I feel like it's not dissimilar to Green Lantern, I guess. But I do know she's an alcoholic apparently. So let's see if they get that in there. But yeah.
Now, when you say Kree, do you mean the Native American or like the blue guys?
Not the Native Americans.
Okay.
She crashes and gets cosmic powers from a bunch of
from a reservation.
Real talk, I want to see that though. I want to see the
government's just
like
we lost her.
This is entirely different, but I'd love to see that. You know how we have Black Panther for obviously African Americans and Africans all over the world. Like I'd love to see, like the stuff for Native Americans and like all of the every single ethnic group or whatever. Like as politically correct as that can sound, it's something that I'd love to see, man. I really would.
It's cool when stuff like that gets to happen.
Yeah. It's just good to see. It's good to explore these. It's good to explore different things, especially when these characters are like quote unquote role models for people, kind of like these things to strive for, these ideals. It's good to have something that everybody can fit into, because kids is what like superheroes. So give them something.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's cool. It's cool when they can do stuff like that tastefully, and like that was the thing that I saw a thing like that when Black Panther came out that I actually hadn't considered beforehand, but I thought was really, really cool. And it was
what?
This one critic had basically said like Black Panther is a really, like, regardless of your take on the movie as like an adult, it's good that Black Panther is a movie that is at least good enough that kids will like it, because it's a really positive film with a primarily black cast. Like it's not 12 Years a Slave where it's like being black is suffering. It's like kids who watch this are going to want to be T'Challa, and that's a positive thing. And it's like, I never considered it that way, but that's really cool.
and even Warmonger, the villain, is like still like a respectable dude.
Yeah, right.
Like he's fucking crazy, but like
He's badass. He does cool shit.
yeah. And speaking of black superheroes, I've been watching Black Lightning with Trevor, which is like one of the DC characters, like the DC's answer to Luke Cage.
Really? How is that?
God damn, that's such a good show.
Really?
Yeah.
I've heard good things about the DC TV shows. I gotta check those out.
Yeah, he really likes it, but Black Lightning is on point, man. It's like Luke Cage is kind of like a little cheesy, right? It plays into that blaxploitation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Black Lightning is like it's like really heavy.
Huh.
At times, like not super duper duper heavy, but it like touches on some like real cool issues.
Like Mike said, for the most part, DC has knocked their TV shows out of the park, which you cannot say. I'm not going to name any names or other things, but there are certain other things that they have done that have not quite lived up to the their expectations.
Imagine being anybody who worked on Justice League, and imagine then watching Infinity War. Like, imagine that.
Imagine you making Batman v Superman, and then the next month watching Civil War.
Like, right? It's the best part is, and I saw this on the Half in the Bag episode last night. Fucking Marvel has evolved to the point where they're doing dark and gritty better than DC. Infinity War is such a dark, dour movie, and all the serious shit works. It all works infinitely better than DC's does. But hey, we're getting Aquaman.
Hey.
Fingers crossed for Aquaman and Shazam.
Sorry.
I'm really sorry.
I'm sorry. Let's not.
Oh, why did we do that, Venom? Oh, boy. But yeah, Infinity War, good-ass movie.
There's we could talk about this movie literally for hours.
We will.
But,
We probably will. We will when we get to it. We will return in the long run.
Yeah,
Infinity War.
the basics are, just go see it. I think that's the best thing that I could say about it. Is like you should go see it. Like even
if you're listening to this and you like Marvel and you haven't seen it yet, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, like even though we've talked a lot about it, the biggest thing I can say is like watch it and think for yourself what you actually think.
Yeah.
Because I think that'll create much better discussion. Because like we said, it is not a perfect movie, and there are very few movies that I've ever seen that are actually perfect. But it is still an amazing like we've come to this game. This movie expecting something completely different, something that's going to blow our minds, something like very much like how we felt with Force Awakens, and it delivered. And a part of me wonders if this is how we all felt during Harry Potter, when Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out, or even when Return of the King came out. Because when I was a bit younger, so I didn't quite understand the cultural phenomena that those movies could be. And I wonder if those movies even had the amount of hype and satisfaction that Avengers Infinity War has.
Yeah, like I said, this was an event. This is an event and so much more, and I can't wait to revisit it.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna definitely watch it again soon, probably with some more people.
For sure, I'm trying to watch it again as well.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Because now I'm hyped. I was kind of marveled out after I saw it the first time, and now I'm ready to see it again. Now I'm excited.
I was getting a bit of the fatigue, and I was worried. I was like, is this going to be another like light comedy with some action bits? And it's like, nope. If you're under the age of 10, get ready to fucking cry.
Dude.
Get ready for the
nightmares,
because you're going to have a lot of them.
Please don't even get me started, bro, about the
You're going to watch Spider-Man turn to dust before your very eyes while crying and begging that he doesn't want to go.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
About it. Stop it! Like, oh my god. Mark was next to me, bro. No, bro. Mark was next to me. He saw the toll it took on me.
Did you hear the other person that was sitting in the theater near us?
No, I didn't hear him.
Oh, over on like my side, I think one row below us, when it got to the one scene where he goes, "Come, General, this is no place to die," and he turns into dust, and I heard this kid go, oh, "He was my favorite."
Oh
no! And that was
It's like we know they're coming back. Kids aren't gonna fucking know that. They don't know these release schedules and studio politics.
Holy, that hits hard.
I was so sure that what's her name, Okoye.
Okoye.
I made the bet.
I know,
actually.
I did too.
We had a whole list.
I was so sure that she was going to die, and so that when T'Challa turned to dust, I was like, "Oh fuck! They just killed Black Panther! Oh fuck!"
I gasped a lot at this. Like,
Mark and I, we had a lot of nerd chill moments. That's what I'll say.
yeah, I'm looking at my list right now that I put in the group chat. I said, Cap dies but gets resurrected in the next one. That didn't happen.
Yeah, that was
one of the sisters, either Gamora or Nebula, is gone. Yep. Nick Fury. Yep. Vision is not going to die. I said just to throw everyone for a loop, but they went and did it. Okoye survived. I was surprised by that.
By the way, Vision died was fucking horrifying. Like, they took out like his brain, and then he just turned all black and white, and he was just like a lifeless husk on the ground. It was like, oh my god.
They turned this robot into a legit corpse.
Ugh.
If you've ever wondered what the corpse of a robot would look like, that's what it fucking looks like.
Jesus.
Yeah, Black Order all died. I was surprised that Iron Man didn't die. I'm still thinking that Drax is going to be the one to kill Thanos, but we'll see. But yeah, no, what a fucking finale to this one. And I loved at the end of the credits, the Avengers will return, and just nope, Thanos will return. Thanos is.
And it's like, oh, jeez, what?
He's coming back because he's not going anywhere.
Do you think that? All right, so I know we talked before about how it'd be cool if they had the big celestial battles, but what if it was just like a really low key movie where like it's like we can't fight Thanos, like there's no point, so they're just like, well, I guess we'll just have to like reason with him or something like that.
Thanos, I've come to bargain.
Yeah, right.
Or like something really low key like that, where it's just like we're not going to win a fight, like where they subvert all the expectations, which is what they did at the end of this movie. They had the big battle, and then the battle ended, and then it ended with a whimper, the entire movie, which is very different from the usual beam in the sky.
Yeah, I would actually really like that if they were just like, look, he's obviously operating under a sense of logic. He knows that we can't beat him. We know that we can't beat him. So fuck it. Why don't you take the glove off and we'll just talk?
Yeah. Kind of
Let's see if we can't change your mind.
Yeah,
if you're a reasonable person, you will hear us out.
Imagine that. And that would be like, oh, wow. Like, I don't know how they would do it.
And it's like, you'd have to fucking get mad and punch them eventually, but at least try.
Yeah, exactly.
I want more talking in the next one, because that was some of the best bits in this one.
I mean, what's this world gonna be like? It's like half empty.
It's gonna be insane. We're gonna have punished Ant-Man, punished Hawkeye, even more punished Tony.
Oh yeah, Tony's broken. Tony's done.
You know what the worst part is? I was in a thread last night looking through it, looking at people's reactions, and someone was just like, when it got to the ending, I thought about this scene and it broke me, and I clicked the link, and it's the bit from Spider-Man Homecoming after the ferry accident.
Right. Yeah.
When he comes down and he's just like, what if somebody had died today? That's on you. And if you died, I feel like that's on me. And he takes the suit back, saying that he's supposed to be better. And it's like, oof, damn.
Dude.
They knew how to hit hard at this one. None of it felt cheap. We know that they're going to get resurrected, but it's really about the journey and not the destination. Yeah. They knew how to play their cards right.
That's what I was telling Matt. And Matt's like who's been on the podcast, Matt Lipnick. He said like diehard anti-Marvel.
Yeah. If there's anyone that's anti-Marvel, it's Matt.
He was like, it seemed cheap. Like, we know they're going to come back. And I'm like, yeah, you know that, but it still hurt when they died.
Well, that's the thing, though. Right? Like, we know that they're going to come back, but that's not the point. Like, when they died, I wasn't even thinking about, oh, he's going to come back. It was like, oh my God, he's dead. Like, and how that feels for the characters. And it's not about so much the destination, so much it's the journey to get there. And that's what people have to realize about these movies. Like, like the comic books in general, like of course they're gonna come back. That's what comic books have been built on. Why do you think that Steve Rogers, Captain America, didn't die during World War II? Like we know that they're gonna come back, but it's the journeys and the evolution of the characters. That's what we care about. The only person who stays dead is Uncle Ben.
Yeah. Which I still want to say, if they're gonna pull some crazy shenanigans, where like next one, it's like they're fighting Thanos. It's like, fuck you, snap the fingers. Here's the ghost of Yondu. Here's the ghost of Uncle Ben. Here's the ghost of Ego.
Oh my god! What if?
Here's the ghost of Odin.
Oh my god, dude!
It's like you want to fight ideologies? Okay, punch your dead dad.
Oh, that would be heavy.
Like, could you imagine if that's the intro we get to MCU Uncle Ben?
Holy shit!
If everybody comes back for a little bit, if Thor gets to say like one more word to Odin,
that's like they use
the gauntlet for that.
Yeah, that's like
And then there's just like a dude standing there, and they're all like, "Who the hell is him?" And then you just see Spider-Man takes the mask off.
Oh, but Spider-Man's dead already. He's gone.
What if it's like, dude, that's like Scarlet Witch is like facing your inner demons in Age of Ultron times like 20.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
Like we thought the whole fucking like, oh, he still owes me a dance, like that. Oh no, Cap's love interest is fucking dying with Alzheimer's. Like we thought that shit was tragic and heartrending. Like there's still so much more they could do. There's so many more different ways they could make us hurt
us again.
I'm excited for the next one though, and as someone who is definitely feeling the Marvel fatigue, that is the most exciting thing.
Yeah, 100%.
I have not felt like this about the MCU as a whole since the first Avengers movie.
Here's what I will say, Mark. You need to watch The Punisher, bro. You need to watch The Punisher.
Really? Because that's the thing. After like Iron Fist came out, I was like,
don't worry about Iron Fist. Don't even worry about Defenders. I don't even like Defenders that much. But Punisher, bro. Punisher, you need to watch. I'm telling you. It's like, I think objectively, it's better than Daredevil. Both seasons. Really? Objectively, I think it's better.
Oh, okay. No, I'm excited now. That's the next one on the list, I think.
Yeah. Definitely check that one out. Because I think Daredevil I like more. It's like a favorite, but objectively, I think Punisher is a better story, I think.
Oof. All right. Well, on that note, why don't we wrap things up by taking a look at some of the releases we got coming up this month in May. We got Terminal, which looks fucking weird. That's the one with I know Mike Myers is in it. I think Margot Robbie's in it as well. Looks very interesting. That's another one with really cool trailer. Have no idea what the hell it's about. We got Deadpool 2 coming out. Looking forward to that. We got Disney's Star Wars Han Solo solo movie, Solo, a Star Wars Solo.
Yeah.
That's coming out, which, all right, maybe I'll catch a matinee because it's Star Wars, and I'm a consumer sheep, so I have to. We also got How to Talk to Girls at Parties.
That should be interesting.
Which is an adaptation of a Neil Gaiman short story that I think is also being put out by A24. So interested for that. I like Neil Gaiman, and I think Elle Fanning is in that too. So, and it's been. I think the last time I saw her was what was that? What was that one movie? Not Cloverfield.
Super 8. Super 8.
Super 8. Yeah,
one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah, Super 8's excellent. Yeah, but yeah, we got some cool stuff coming up next month. So I'm looking forward to it. So as we sign off, is there anything you guys want to plug before we finish things up here?
You want me to do shout outs first, Jake? You want to do some shout outs?
I'll do shout outs first. Go follow Dr. Noodle Mage on Twitter. Go follow him on DeviantArt. Go follow him on Tumblr.
Now that he's internet famous after that Android 21 tweet.
Yeah, man. Just go follow him. Go follow him in real life.
Go follow our boy.
However you want to do it, go see him. And I don't have anything on ResearchGate yet, but hopefully this summer, who knows? We'll see. Oh yeah, and check out the new check out the Long Run podcast, Year in Review.
I'll put a link to that in the description down here because
Nice.
everybody's going to want to watch that. You got to watch that to fully appreciate the shared universe we've got going on here.
Yeah, and the nice thing about that one is that this time I put video clips in there, which is why I got copyright struck.
Oh, I am very excited.
So that should be good. All right, Adam.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, I want to give a big shout out to, to Rutgers Esports, to TESPA. Please follow them on social media at Rutgers Esports, at Team TESPA, for all the support that they've given me and the opportunities that they've afforded me. Obviously, we didn't talk about it too much, but I am, as much as I love film, I'm also an esports guy, and that's where I'm hopefully going to be making a career. So it's hard to describe how grateful I am to both of those organizations for everything that they've done for me and the communities that are involved. I owe everything that I am and where I'm at now to them. I want to give a big shout out to Peter and Fog of War. We're going to be coming back very, very soon. My boy Peter at Xenos King. Stay tuned for that. We will be making a comeback very, very soon, I promise. I also want to give a big shout out to the Long Run Podcast. We've talked about that a little bit before, but more than that, and obviously you can follow me on all social media at Adam_Bomb, BOMMB, Bomb with 2 M's. But more than that, I want to make sure I say this because I feel like he doesn't get nearly enough love or as much attention. Man, big shout out to Jurassic Mark. Real talk. Okay, so I've known Mark since high school. Okay, and he started out. He was part of the crew, and the crew has slowly grown over the years, but he's always been a staple. And Mark has always had a passion for film that I always admired, and it's part of why I got into film alongside Evan and some other people. But Mark is also, he's been a content creator ever since high school. I remember you were making some videos. Maybe you're not too proud of them nowadays, but you were making those videos back then. I remember. By the time I remember we used to try and make short movies or films in, in high school. And I remember even going into... we never finished it. I remember Josh Kent was always supposed to...
That footage
Josh Kent was supposed to be the main character, but he never showed up. One of our many lost films. I remember in college, though, Mark really doubled down on this love for film when he started his blog, and it's really come such a long way. And now he's been part of the podcast. He's formed his own podcast, and Mark is one of those guys, I think, that has shown his love for movies, has shown that he's not here for the money. Obviously, he's just here because he loves it. And I think that he does such amazing work. And big shout out to you, man. I've been watching you for years, and I couldn't be happier to see how far you've come. And I'm really excited to see how much bigger not only your blog, but the podcast gets and everything. Like, big shout out to you, man. Big shout out. Thanks for having me on and Jake as well. Like, it's a big honor, man. Really.
Damn, dude. Well, thank you guys so much for coming. Yeah, like I said, I don't have anything prepared after that. Jesus.
We gotta let Adam go last.
Right? No, that can happen in the long run. We'll get you back.
Bitch.
We'll get you back in the long run.
I
get it now.
This
wouldn't have happened if I got my way and we called it the Dipcast. But
the what cast?
Yeah, the No Chips No Dipcast.
Oh, the Dipcast. Yeah, no Dipcast.
But definitely check these guys out. Check out the long run. Some of the realest G's I know. If you want to check out my stuff, you got the blog over at whiteguywithnetflix.blogspot.com. I'm on Twitter at the Jurassic Mark. I'm also on Twitch. I've just started putting up episodes of a Let's Play of the Telltale Batman game for season 1. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that really awful like air conditioner noise is in the background. Maybe it's my air conditioner, but I'll look into it. I fucked around with my noise gate since, so maybe everything will get way better as it goes on. Or worse, who knows? But definitely check that out. Check out the long run. Those things are so much fun to record. Love hanging out with you guys when we're able to. We got to get together at some point over the summer.
We'll try, man. We'll try.
Yeah. We'll go out to Chicago. We'll see the Bean.
Oh yeah, come see the Bean. We can touch the Bean.
We'll go to Chicago and we'll watch the Meg and then record the Meg podcast inside the Bean.
Now, let me tell you something about coming to Chicago. I have a movie theater near me, and it's got all the weird. Like, it's 5 minutes from my house, and it's Cine Arts, so it has all the weird stuff like 3 Billboards.
I thought you were going to say, now let me tell you about the bean.
Let me tell you about the bean. All right. Oh,
tell us about
the bean. Have you ever seen the bean?
I have not seen the bean, not in person. I've seen the bean.
Man, it's a sight. You never forget the first time you see the bean.
That's the name of this podcast.
You never forget.
Good night, everybody.
Now give me a growl. Okay. Oh my God. It's a megalodon.